Camera's rolling.
Baby, I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess you created. The one that you hated. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess you.
What is going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Dad Talk Saturday. Hope everybody's doing well. Mr. Ward, what's going on, brother?
Living life, living La Vida Loca, as they used to say back in the 90s. How about yourself, young man?
Ah, you're doing all right.
Maybe a little brag time. Oh, you're tired, getting older and stuff. But yeah, you've mentioning got some wins in the exercise category.
Yeah,
One of those
man.
right there.
Been, I was working hard, the past 4 years living on the road and eating at fast food joints and not being at home and stuff. It did a number on my body, man. I mean,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, like working, 15, 16 hours a day sitting in this chair, it didn't do me any favors.
No.
So I've been taking a lot of breaks off in between the shooting and stuff. And Jimmy, for you guys haven't seen
Smith.
Jimmy's show on Sunday, it'll be on tomorrow. I was working really closely with Jimmy. He got me on a good dieting plan and exercise plan, and I've been doing it for months, but I thought it wasn't working. I started getting bigger, and I got on the scale the other day and had gained 11 pounds, and I was like, oh, my God, dude, what in the world is going on? And it just completely took the wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
But something just didn't add up. I went and got an assessment. I'd lost 5% of my overall body fat and gained 11 pounds of muscle.
Boom.
I was like, okay, hold up. This is working.
Yeah.
I wasn't gaining weight for the sake of, gaining weight. But I've been doing a lot of, taking off some time and just investing in myself. I've been doing about 3 to 4 hours in the gym every day. I'm going to tell you, for you guys that are going through these issues, and I don't care if you're going through these issues or not. I mean, if you're living in this world, that is a very good thing for you to do. Take care of yourself.
Oh, you got to. Well, you're mentioning also just the mental clarity, obviously the physical piece of it. Just how your mindset's changed over the months of doing this. I mean, you went from brain fog to, being there. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, like just kind of the transformation. I don't want to say the transition, but the transfer, because that's may not be a good word today, but your transformation over the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of different factors in it. When doing this, you see the worst parts of the world. You do, and you're consumed in it. You never know what story you're going to hear next, and it really starts to do a number on your psyche. So staying involved in that all the time. I mean, the same way they say you are what you eat, you are what you involve yourself in.
Yeah.
So being able to pull off and just, put some time into yourself, man. And I think a lot of these guys have a hard time doing that because they think that every second that they're not working towards these issues or whatever challenges is going on in their life, that they're the deadbeat dad. They're not doing everything hard enough. And dude, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anything else. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I think General Miller kind of captures it there. You only get one body. Best take care of it so you can be around for your family.
That's it, man.
Yeah, I mean, as dads, especially dads and moms, but the dads, if you're not taking care of yourself and staying in the fight, too many cheeseburgers and pizzas, you're going to take yourself out. I mean, they say, I mean, divorce and family breakups, those are some of the worst. That's worse than anything in your life. It ages you. It takes so much out of your body. And if you're not, in the gym, getting your health back where it needs to be, it's going to be a short show, and you're going to fail your kids. If you want to add to everything, so you're going to, if you really want to be there for your kids and do the fight, no matter what your situation is, you got to take care of your health.
So that's the thing, dude. I'm still eating pizza.
You got your cheat. Yeah, you got your cheat meal.
No, like I eat it every night, dude. I'm not lying to you, but I've got a diet pizza. It's it's an ultra thin crust. I count the calories, and then I know how many calories I'm burning out during the day. So it's definitely helped get some of that balance in there.
So you get focused. You got focused on your health.
Yeah.
Not just, and that's true of everything. Your finances, your retirement, your health, your goals. If you have a plan, you get focused. I'm doing a little Dave Ramsey here, and you get focused. You can accomplish your goals. Yeah, I got to squeeze Dave Ramsey, and he's my boy on a lot of things. The family stuff, I do watch a lot of his stuff. Whenever there's a family scenario that pops up, Dave, you're wrong on a lot of it. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Yeah, he has an interesting take on the family. He has a lot of I don't want to say old world values, but I see the disparity. There are times he'll get on, and if it's a girl divorcing a man, it's you go girl, you get your money. And if it's a guy talking about the same situation, he'll say, well, what have you done to fix it? And what have that very different conversations depending on who he's talking to. And I just always can point that out. But
I'm just sitting here watching like these numbers and the censorship that's going on with Dad Talk Today right now.
Oh yeah.
It's been very disheartening to watch this lately. As I said, the number the people following and stuff just keeps going through the roof. Yeah. The amount of people that are being able to access our content just keeps going lower and lower. And it's got a lot to do with the documentary that I got coming out on Jeff Hager, and one of the subjects that we're going to talk about here in just a second. This is very alarming, guys. I wanted to bring this to you because I think, like I said, if you live in one of these parts of the country where it hasn't quite hit yet, you might not understand how big of an issue this is. But when you see stuff like this, makes it sink home, makes it sink in a little bit deeper. I want to play you something that I found on Twitter this morning. It's from a guy, I think it's a guy that has a group called LGB. They want to be LGB without the T and the Q. Mm-hmm. And they are cognizant of the agenda that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. But let's show everybody this.
So this is a video from the LGB community. They're the ones that are producing this video. It's not Dad Talk conservative guy. It's not it's a person that is in the LGB community that's made this. Okay, just want to make absolutely sure everyone's aware of that.
Yeah, and this is what I 100% wholeheartedly believe. A lot of the censorship that we're getting is from, because this is just being pushed so hard on everybody right now. But let's let you listen. So, the first two lines in that, I don't find that disturbing. If that's what you want to do, if that's what floats your boat, go ahead and do it. We're here. We're queer. Okay. It's good for you, bro. Yeah. It's good for you. Go ahead. Be who you are. But the third part where they say, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. Why are you worried about pushing this ideology on children? Guys, this is a very big movement right now, and it's getting bigger and bigger every single day. And, I guess a part of the reluctance to make, more content is like, how do you even address this one without getting even more censorship? But, I just don't know how you push back at it, dude. They're not playing around.
No, they're
not playing around whatsoever.
Yeah, they've been done for years. They're pushing it. Schools, public. Well, we're in the month of June. They're doing so much there. And if you do speak up, what do they do to you? They shut you down. The gamer from a few weeks ago, that just made a comment that said, hey, this issue's about the little kids. I'm paraphrasing the sentence he said. The Call of Duty folks came in and said, you're gone. Now, there has been some pushback. Dr. Disrespect and a few others have said, you know what, we're out too. I think Dr. Disrespect did a thing on his podcast or his show where he uninstalled Call of Duty and said, I'm done playing the game based on what they're doing. I'd say it. That's how you fight back. We talked about this before, is you vote with your pocketbook.
So, the more I learn about this, the more interesting it gets. I can never understand, why is the children such a target? Why are you worried about your little children? Do you know, like, the majority of these people, after they reach puberty, they no longer want anything to do with this?
Oh, well, they had that lady that sued, that girl that sued when she was 13. She had her breast removed at the doctor's insistence or recommendation. And then after she grew up, she said, I never wanted this. I was just a crazy teenager. Whatever, the reasons were. And she sued them. I think she won, actually. But yeah.
About Chloe?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Chloe
young
Cole.
Lady. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, talking to Walt Heyer, his doctor told him that's what he needed to do, and he did it, and his life ended up becoming a living hell.
Oh, yeah. Well, no one likes to talk about the statistics, but after they go through that, their numbers are actually a little bit worse for the self-deletions. That doesn't change anything as far as their mood, because they'll say, oh, well, they should be allowed to become a pirate or a princess or a pony or whatever they want to be, and that'll make them happy. It doesn't. There's something else that out there. It's not that issue. But yeah, I was, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a pirate. I think everyone's heard the joke, they don't cut my eyeball out and cut my leg off. I wanted, be a spaceship. I wanted to be a transformer when I was a kid, for God's sake. They didn't, rip out my body and replace it with metal. Although as I'm getting older, I'm probably going to start getting metal put in there, but these are kid fantasy. When you were a kid, we welcomed their imagination. And the things that we're doing is just ridiculous, and it's not solving anything. It's making things worse. And just with that video you showed, again, from someone in the LGBT community, it wasn't some hate group or whatever. It was that organization that says, look, a lot of them are pushing. There's people that are in that community that are pushing back. So they're like, this is way too far. They realize where they're at. They made their adult decision to go that route. Knock yourself out. You already said it for Dad Talk today, but personally for me, once you reach the age of majority, you do whatever the heck you want to do on your own dime. Don't make me pay for it. In the prison system, the military, and through plans off the state that I have to pay for. You want to do whatever? Knock yourself out. Don't teach it to my kids.
I said, dude, I saw something with Walsh the other day that is just crazy. The Congress in Tennessee was pushing back at him with all this. And they was asking him what age, and he was like, personally, I think 18 is too soon. He was like, we are not fully developed into our adult minds until the age of 25. Research has shown that.
Yeah.
But the guy is telling the truth, man. And how many of these people, I guess the biggest, worry about stuff like this is it's something that if you do it, there is no reversal. You can try to reverse it. You can try to make the image reverse, but the damage, if you say, no, I wanted a family. No, I wanted some of this. It's done.
Yeah.
It's literally done. It's over.
Yeah, and the things they don't tell you. I have read, and again, this issue is kind of an anecdotal thing, so I don't spend days researching it like I do other things. But just in various articles where people went through it, they talk about what happens right after the surgery. You're in immense pain for days, months, weeks, years, lifetime afterwards. And then one article I was reading, the doctor got what they wanted, which having it done, and they're crying for medication. They're like, nah, not the, oh, you can't have any, but it's basically, I think they gave him Advil for this, and the organs are non-functioning.
Dude, I like this. Walt Silman said, seems to have taken me until 35 compared to 25. I can relate to that one. I think it was, dude, I really started reaching my age of maturity around 30.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm still waiting to get there.
Pretty tumultuous time for me.
I'm getting ready to turn 51 and I've got no signs of slowing down. I mean,
You're old.
I know. It's
I don't know what I said that it just reminded me. Have you seen? Oh God, I don't know if I can laugh about this. It's okay. I think a lot of people laughed at it. Have you seen the girl on TikTok that has Tourette syndrome, and like she'll be talking and just like wah, and just start saying things that are on her mind, but she's became famous for it,
right?
Because she's not letting that hold her back, and I think that's very inspirational. However, Dr. Phil had her on to talk about her story, and so every so often when her Tourette's would come off, you know, she'd be sitting there talking like, you know, I've had this since I was a kid. You're bald. Every time it would come off, she would call Phil bald. He was just sitting there looking. I thought it was, you know, probably one of the best things I've ever seen on TV.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know this is unfeeling. I should be more. I almost kind of think and wish I had Tourette syndrome. I mean, just think of the freedom.
Because kidding.
I'll be talking to some people and I'm like, this person needs to, I need to just unload on them. And I have to bite my tongue to keep from doing that. I wish I didn't have that, you know, whatever that is. And I know it's probably a horrible condition to have, you know, to be out there in the real world and communicate with people. But, you know, having a little fun with it, you know, it's something I think either I have or I should have. I'm pretty close. My wife would disagree because she's like, can you just not? Because every time something happens, I've got some inappropriate comment to make about it. And, you know, most of the time we're in public or something, which is why I don't go in public that often. And she'll just look at me like, why did you say that? I don't know. Just no filter.
I have those moments. I've had those moments where something just comes out my mouth and the whole room goes silent. Like, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be funny. It's like the ones that you want to be funny and people take it serious.
Yeah.
Look on their face. It's like, really? Come on.
I think some of it's age. I mean, I know you're younger than I am, but as I'm getting older, my filter just further erodes my ability to be, you know, nice or being pleasant in public or around people. Just it goes away. And it's funny because now my wife, as I don't want to say she's getting older because you never say a woman's getting older, but she's getting there as well because maybe it's me. Maybe it was me being around her, but you know, she was all sweet and she still lies to some people and they think that she's sweet and nice. But you know, more as she gets older, she's like, this is a bunch of crap. I'm gonna buff and just loses it. And I think it's an age thing. As you get older, you just don't care anymore. I don't what people think. That's a lot of it. Is just don't care.
No, I can agree.
You get to
the point. It's like, well, you know, man, I think social media is starting to make a lot of people that way. It has become a place for the lazy, the entitled, and the ones that have no vision for their life to constantly degrade the people that do.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got an opinion just like they got assholes. And so you sit there and you see this crap every day. And it's just like, you know what? You got to get to a point to where that shit just bounces off of you, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, having the worldwide show you have, all the things that you've done, you've taken a lot of criticism over the years, lies, BS, nonsense. At some point, you just got to say, I don't give a crap.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean,
if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and usually your criticism is going to come from people that don't even do a fraction of the work that you do.
Oh, that too. Well, I always check my paycheck, I check my bank statement, and I go, did you contribute to either? No, then your opinion doesn't matter. And this, follows in with the people that are going through a divorce or custody breakup and facing false charges, or you're the deadbeat dad, or you're the, really? I mean, are you going to take that person's opinion? And I know, because I've been there when my ex would say that I was a bad parent, or I didn't do this, or I did that, whatever. I would be like, here's the 10 million reasons, and here's the 20 examples. I'm a data guy, so I would have all the either documented or ready to go to moment's notice. Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. You don't like me? That's your problem.
I think the problem, with when we talk about the family law stuff is just seeing, the both sides of, oh, they did this, they did this, they did this. And sometimes like it needs to be brought out, but sometimes it's just like very little tedious stuff that it's like, guys, you're trying to make an enemy out of somebody, not realizing we all have our own BS. It's not that big of a deal. It has nothing to do whether we can parent our children or not. It's just the court's got you in limbo with this finger pointing crap.
Yep.
Just be a human, realize, yeah, I made a mistake, but I still don't see your point. Where's the point and where I can't see my child, where it's dangerous for me to be around my child, where supervision is needed, where I need an attorney, why I need to go to a judge, why I need to give my life savings to these people to be around my own children. It just doesn't make sense, dude.
Yeah. And we need more people that are going to stand and go, this does not make sense. And push back against that narrative and get your mind right and, move forward. Stop being, pulled down, because people are going to find, you're like, you have your platform and you handle certain things, and people are like, well, you need to address this issue, and then it just spreads out, and then there's only so much you can do in a given day, then you're not effective anymore.
I don't need to do anything.
That's the other.
You know what I mean? I don't need to do anything. I do it because I want to.
Right.
But people think that they have the ability to tell you what you have to do. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, when you bow to people like that, you give them some type of false power that they think it actually matters. It's like, I could give a shit less what you think. There's people out there that are doing what they can, and you're on a computer, Yeah,
it's keyboard warriors.
Keyboard. And I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's family law or whatever it is. Like, dude, one of the ones that gets me the most is seeing the guys talk about MMA fighters or boxers. They're like, oh, Tyson Fury, he ain't nothing, man. He's a weakling. He's this. He would get beat up. He wouldn't be in there for 2 seconds with this. I'm like, you realize you couldn't even take a half a punch from that guy. Not just one punch. I don't even know if you could take the blow of the air coming by your head from a swing. If he missed, he would knock you the F out.
Exactly. Well, that whole Tyson thing from, a year ago, where that dumb idiot on the plane was talking smack to Mike Tyson.
Yeah, you know what, dude? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
I saw a commercial out of Britain the other day, and that they poked fun at it, and they had a guy knock on a guy's door and say, "Hey, are you Power Man? 10,000." Did you say that so and so couldn't do a gut punch or something? He's like, "Well, yeah, I did." He goes, "All right, Bob, get over here." And the guy that he was talking about steps out. He's a boxer. Smokes him right in the stomach and goes, "Have you learned?" The guy's like, "Yeah, I learned." We need more of that. I mean, these keyboard warriors.
It is the craziness of confirmation bias, because no matter how stupid somebody is, there's going to be somebody on the internet that agrees with them.
Oh yeah.
It gives them this false sense of I'm right. Right. And haters, birds of a feather flock together. They all get together and they get this false sense of I'm right until reality hits, you know? And then for that guy, it happened to be Mike Tyson on a plane, and it didn't work out too well.
Did not work out.
I don't think Tyson got in trouble for that.
No, I think he either got a slap on the wrist. He shouldn't. That's the thing. These people that run their mouths nonstop. Again, I'm Gen X. I'm from the old school, and I'll tell you right now, I don't care about people's opinion. There are times a smack to the butt is just what's needed to get a kid back in line. That's what works. I mean, we have the generation we have today. Huh?
Your wife too. Yeah.
That can go both ways.
I do that every morning for mine. She appreciates it.
I do. Well, I do it out of love. I was like,
doing it while she's doing her makeup, and then she gets angry.
Oh, well, yeah, that's when you do it. Yeah, when she's like getting her eye on, you smack her in the butt, and she's
exactly
actually. What's funny is this, to go back to this, the craziness. I made a comment about things that you used to hate when you were a kid that you like as an adult, naps and spankings, which. It was in a meme group or whatever. People started taking out of context. Oh my gosh, you abuse your spouse, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, are you kidding me? And there were people that were supporting it. That's the other part of it. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I'm of the generation. I mean, when I got online, my my dad smoked me in the butt, and other things. I mean, he was a old school disciplinarian.
You want me to pick? I got a shoe before. I've had the belt. I've had hangers.
I had an oar.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of stuff, and I tell you, none of that was as scary as his hand. His freaking hand was huge, man.
Oh, well, I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm 51. There are nights I wake up in a cold sweat to the sound of my dad's belt coming off.
My dad used to take his belt and put it in half, and then at the pop.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, yeah, yeah. And do you love your dad any less?
No, but see, he didn't know I had a black belt in rabbit.
I already know where this is going.
Yeah. I could run as fast as a rabbit back then.
Oh, your dad didn't pull the, if I got to run after you, it's going to be 10 times worse.
No, he would just say, like, you'll think you got away with it. I'll get you later on. So I would just sit outside for like 4 hours. Like, I ain't going in there. It worked a couple of times. And there was a couple of times I was just sitting there like, okay, he forgot about it. Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
My dad hit me sometimes, and he's like, you did something. I have no idea what it is, but you did something.
But here's the thing. You talk about, did I regret that? No, I didn't. Did I at the time? Absolutely. I thought it was hideous. I thought it was abusive. I thought it was many different things. I didn't spank my children, but I don't look down on my parents for when they did. Yeah. But you got to look at the consequences of the fatherless epidemic. A lot of the people now grew up without a father. So when they hear this, it was toxic masculinity. They will not be able to have that revelation like you nor I had. Right. To them, it just seems abusive because it was an idea just completely crazy to them. Right. But we learned our lessons, and there was consequences for our actions, and it was positive masculinity. I don't care how, again, like I said, I didn't choose to do that as a father myself. Maybe I was wrong in some of those aspects.
But that's your right. You're the parent. You get to make those decisions, not the government, not Susie Q from whatever keyboard warrior. I know where you sleep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm hoping that our audience, when we were talking about, I wake up with vivid, scared to the sound of my dad's belt. I'm hoping that most of the people on the show remember their own parents and that discipline type and went, ooh, they went a little nervous. But our dads, they taught us discipline. They taught us, they taught us how to get, okay. One story, I was a loudmouth young kid. I thought that my martial arts at the time earned me something. I hadn't learned those lessons yet. And I smarted off to a guy that was like 17. I was a younger kid, and he, definitely a disparity in size, but I ran my mouth off to him. This guy smoked me right in the face. And I took it. I'm going to tell you right now, I took that shot right to the face. And I was like, wow, well, my dad found out, and he goes, oh, did you run your mouth? I'm like, well, yeah. He was like, learned a lesson, didn't you? Here I am 51 years later. I don't run my mouth unless I can back it up. And I don't run my mouth anyway, but back it up. But that's one of the things that dads bring to the table. And I see that movies, I see it happening where someone does that and the parent will take the kid's side. And you're like, you're not teaching them anything. Well, you are teaching them something, but you're not teaching them anything good.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you got the nuclear family is best. But if you got a nuclear family and you got two sides that disagree and the parents can the kids can play you against each other, that's not good. It gets even worse once you get divorced and then you get new relationships. Because now they've got more people that they can play against each other. You've got to be on a united front. You just got to be. And you might not always agree with the way your spouse handles things, but you and your spouse need to come together and find out, like, where's our middle ground on this thing? I need to respect your feelings on this, and you need to respect mine. But they need to start letting the man be the man of the house too, man. Did you see that little clip I found of TD Jakes this past week?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that was amazing. How are you going to tell me how to be a father? He's like, I can no more tell you how to be a father than you can tell me how to birth a baby, or I think it was actually vice versa. Yeah. But still, it was very true. We both play these different roles, and they're supposed to get a little bit of both. But when you got one trying to dictate the other's role, that becomes a problem.
Well, and these kids, they're little. I mean, again, got 3 of them. They're little. They know you well enough. They know what your weaknesses are. and they will pit one against the other. That's what they do. That's why you've got to be on the united front.
Yeah, General Miller said, I don't think I need to spank my kids to get my point across. People judge me for not spanking, but I tell them they can shove their opinion up their ass. It's my choice. Hey, I like that, dude. I'll be honest. That's what I said, Miller. I mean, like, I do not fault my dad for it, and I'll look back at it, and I deserved every one of them, and I deserved a lot more, to be honest with you. But I learned that just having that relationship with my kids was one thing, and then, like, I had a look on my face. I had that you just
the dad look.
And I could make my kids cry without ever touching them, just by looking at them. And they knew, like, the disappointment or whatever. And that went a long way for me until they became teenagers. I mean, it only goes so long. But no, man, nobody should judge you for that. You do what's best in your household.
You're the parent.
You know, I know some people that, I mean, I've saw them were spanking, you know, people didn't know their own strength.
That's the flip side of it.
Yeah, it was borderline abusive, man. It's like, that's not how. No, I can understand there being a consequence, but what the hell is this?
Yeah, there's a corporal punishment should just be that. And again, my opinion, but it's you. Sometimes a pop on the butt makes sense. Sometimes a grounding makes sense. Sometimes removing the kids' phones, computers, all something. Again, you need to have a couple tools in the toolbox. My dad's he had one or two tools in the toolbox, and that was it. Okay, that was his style. I turned out, okay. Some parents believe, hey, don't spank your kids. That in your house. My thing is, I just don't want to. I'm not going to be responsible for picking, for bailing them out of jail or paying for their lifestyle for the rest of their lives. I mean, you know your kids better than anybody else. Raise your kids. Do it the best way you can. Learn how to do it.
Speaking of mistakes, just none of us as parents that are perfect. We probably look back every day and say there's something we wish there would have been different. This past week, I was sitting down with my mom and we was talking just about parenting, like when I was growing up and everything. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, I never told you this as a kid. I was never going to do it. I was like, there was many times my dad wanted to get me and you stood in the way. Yeah. And I was proud that you did back then. And I was like, but Mama, he was right.
Got my ass beat.
Right. He had me pegged and he knew what was going on in that mischievous mind of mine. Right. Whereas I could play my mom and I could play off of her sympathy. And I said, there was many times had you stayed out of the way, I think he could have been more involved. But I think these dads, they call them deadbeats and all these other things, even like with this family court stuff. But these guys will try. And when it feels like they can't get anywhere and people just keep getting in their way, they start detaching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the data backs it up completely. Once you've, removed and make the dad fight so hard to stay in their kid's life, at some point they're like, I'll come back when you're 18 or 21 if I'm still alive. I mean, that's what they do.
I have a hard time just even hearing about this deadbeat thing altogether. My first thing is that he doesn't want to see his kids or he doesn't want to be anywhere around you because you stand in the way of everything. Right. His relationship, it's just like you're just this dictator.
Right.
And unfortunately our laws have protected that. Our churches have protected that.
Oh yeah.
So many things have protected that.
Oh yes. You started on the church and society and how they'll stand in the way. Yeah. They'll come in and the government. I mean, the government wants to be the baby daddy, so they can put you under that ownership. And unfortunately, a lot of people have bought into the lie.
Love this, Steven. He said, bro, I've said it countless times in my life. I wish I had a male figure telling me to man up when I was upset and to get over petty situations, but I didn't have that as a result. I argue easily and get upset. Easy, firm handling is needed. I wish I had it. I am glad that you noticed that.
Yeah.
Good. I see stuff. I see stuff just like that too, Steven. I mean, you realize it so you can work on it now, right? Yeah. But it's hard. It's been hardwired in us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have it. It makes it that much harder as adults realizing I've got a problem. I've got to correct it when it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? We're getting older. But absolutely, dude. I mean, I've always made sure that if it's something small with my kids and they're making a big deal out of it, I don't play into it, dude.
Right.
I don't, if they get a little bump on their head or something like that and they're okay, like I'll laugh.
Okay. How many times
have you don't want to do that again, do you?
Yeah. How many times have
I've told you numerous times, don't be doing that.
Well, we've all had that one. But how many times have you seen a kid fall down, get up, and look around to see who's watching them? And then when mom or dad see them, then they freak out. They weren't crying or upset or the world wasn't ending up until someone saw them. They were looking for that attention.
Just like I said, man, they know how to play on that sympathy, brother.
Oh, God. And
you know that sympathy card.
And in a divorce situation, or or where the parents have split up, they pit one parent against the other all the time. They're hardwired to do that, and unfortunately, the laws favor usually one gender over the other, and they use it all. I watched a movie last night on Amazon Prime called The Lie, and it was about a young teenage girl. I was triggered through a lot of it, so I'm still trying to. I don't want to think about the movie, but it was and not pre-warning. It's a trigger movie for, I assume, a lot of people. But her and her friend schemed to do something, and well, anyway, the one friend gets deleted in the whole thing, and the parents go nuts. The divorced parents go nuts to protect the girl throughout the entire movie. Even against the police, she files a false abuse report, all kinds of stuff. And that was in the preview, so no spoilers. But these kids, they will use your parents. They'll use the parents, especially in a split up situation, because they're little tactical, crazy, nutty kids. It's insane. But
we say that from experience of being kids that did this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like we're just trying to put it down this generation of kids or whatever. No, dude. We came up in we know the time that we came up in before the internet.
Oh yeah. Oh,
we glued to our phones all day long, and we wanted to go somewhere and do something, and we knew we probably shouldn't have been doing it.
Okay. Who here has pushed their car out of the driveway down the road to start it because they didn't want to wake your parents up to go to the party?
Oh,
is it just me? Who took their dog with them so they wouldn't bark to the party?
I don't know if I should put out those details of my past, Dwayne.
It's story time. Are your folks watching?
I don't care. I've told them.
You know what? Do it. Yeah.
My dad, with the church and everything, he had this kid that ended up coming to the church. He was like 19, and he was homeless. His parents said he didn't have good parents. He had this little beat up car and everything, but he was living out of the car, and my parents felt very sorry for him, as they should have. I mean, he was having a hard life. They told him, they was like, you know what, we don't like you, sitting there and doing this. Like, come in, you can stay in the room with Eric. I was like, oh yeah. I think I was 14, and when they would go to sleep, I'd say, hey dude, come on, let's sneak out this window real quick. I want to show you something. I pushed the car down the road. Yeah.
Okay, let me just ask a question that I'm sure everyone here is going to go, ooh. Do you are you living in fear that your parents are going to try to take a drink out of the liquor cabinet for what they're going to find in that liquor cabinet? You're like, oh crap, I gotta go.
Oh no. My dad, even though he was in service and everything, dude, had never even tasted alcohol.
Oh, okay, so you had to hide yours.
Yes, or find church members that would let me stay with them.
Okay.
I got more trouble with church people than anybody, dude.
I
find it so hypocritical when people are like, "Oh, you need to get around a good church," and good church people is like, "Dude, as the preacher's kid, yeah, right,
yeah,
right." I got more trouble with the church than anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the movie Footloose. That whole thing. Oh yeah, we would. It's funny. We would have bonfire parties on the weekend, and we would have like the local Catholic church kids show up, the good kids, and they drank and partied and did stupider stuff than we did. All the redneck public school kids. I mean, God, well, I was a band nerd, so we went to Colorado for nationals or whatever it was, and all the kids that hated me for smoking. I was a teenage smoker. We were allowed to smoke in school. That's how old I am. I know it's crazy for some of you youngins, but we were allowed to smoke in school, and everyone condemned smoking because that was when the whole smoking thing came out. As soon as we got on the train to go to Colorado, I had people trying to bum cigarettes off me the entire time. And I'm like, wait, you're on the cheerleading squad. You're this, no. They're worse than the at least I was honest about it. I was like, I'm not going on this thing unless I can smoke. Because yeah, the band guy was like, you can't smoke if you go on this thing. And I'm like, yeah, no.
I'm the one that got busted for smoking all the time at school.
Oh, your school didn't allow smoking?
No, dude.
Oh, you're younger. I keep forgetting.
38.
Okay, yeah. We from I think it was like 9th grade, 9th through 12th high school. You could smoke and funny.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from. But yeah, no, we could smoke after or between classes, at lunch, then whenever we took a break. So I would always find reasons to go out to my car and burn one. That's how I learned how to smoke a cigarette in 2 minutes. Called hotboxing.
I could do it in 30 seconds, bro.
Really?
I could have that cherry that long.
Wow.
I had that very small window, like at school. I could sneak in the bathroom, and with 3 long draws, man, I could do it. And you talk about being dizzy afterwards and having a buzz. But I was a master at it. And like when we would go to lunch or whatever, and you smelled cigarettes in the hallway, you knew what had happened.
Oh yeah. You'd have teachers bumming cigarettes from you, like, "Hey man, I'm out," And we're not condoning smoking. Smoking is bad.
No, dude, I can't even stand to smell it anymore.
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, she grew up. Well, she grew up with heavy smokers, and so she was completely against smoking. And of course, then she met me, and she was like, "Do you smoke?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't smoke." You mean cigarettes? Oh, you mean no? I like to vape. Yeah. So, and then she saw all this and couldn't resist. So,
I started smoking at 7.
That old? Okay, yeah. I bummed my dad's cool Filter Kings down in the basement where where I grew up, and had my first one. I think at like 4 or 5.
You borrowed.
Borrowed, yes, yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, you borrowed a cigarette. I still owe him a couple packs. And in my generation, my dad would send me down to the local store to pick up a carton of cigarettes.
Oh wow.
And I didn't realize that a carton of cigarettes is only 8 packs. And someone's going to say, "Wait, no, you mean 10?" No, 8.
Oh man, basic full flavor 100s is what I had back then.
Basic full flavor. I got onto the Marlboro kick, and that's when
I was a Marlboro guy, but basics was what I could get.
Oh yeah. This is what.
Nothing was worse than when you got a GPC. Had you ever smoked one of those?
GPC. I'm sure at some point.
Yeah, we called it generic price cigarettes because it was floor shavings, man. Horrible.
Horrible. I used to roll my own cigarettes back when the taxes started getting worse. Got a little machine and ordered my tobacco online and did all that stuff. Oh yeah, back in the day, smoking and drinking. Now, well, since we're really going down old school, and I don't know if this is going to send memories. Did you? Again, I was poor, so when I went out drinking, and we didn't worry about the 21 or 18. that's for the youngins. We could get beer all the time. Did you get the 12? Well, wow. Back in the day, what I drank, I can't even say the name anymore on air. Because they're no longer they're a popular beer brand, but not for the reasons that you think of.
Mulvaney Light.
Do what?
Mulvaney Light.
Oh, I've never. Yeah, no, these were Bud Lights. This was back in the day. It was Bud or Busch. I grew up in Missouri, which was Anheuser-Busch back then.
You didn't even get it. Did you see that, guys? He had just went over his head.
What? Oh, wait. I'm not memed. I'm not memed up. What's the Moldovi Lights?
Mulvaney.
What are the Mulvaney? Sorry.
Wow, it hit.
I'm getting old. The Mulvaney Light. Wow. That they should rename it. Of course, they'll be out of business here soon. But yeah, so you'd get your 12-pack of whatever those are, and then a case of Walkies. Our beer is Walkies, Milwaukee Best, which there was nothing. Yeah, because they were much cheaper. They were in the white can.
Oh my God. Now that's toxic masculinity.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And everyone's it went over his head. Whoosh. I'm getting old. I'm senile. I don't know what's going on. But
Mad Dog 2020, man.
Oh gosh, Mad Dog, yeah. But yeah, back all the Purple Passion. That was the ladies' drink. That was the popular ladies' drink was Purple Passion.
I remember that one. I was around for Zima.
Well, yeah, younger. Yeah, the Zimmer and the put the Jolly Rancher in there or whatever. Then they came out with those a couple years ago. And we had a Zima party, kind of a '90s theme, and they still taste bad. I think they kept the case from back then. But,
he's bringing up a bad memory.
Oh, you know what? I was blessed. I did not get hangovers until I was in my late 40s.
You would have from Still Reserve, bud.
Oh,
Still Reserve was one of those, like most beers were like 4.5%, 5% alcohol, and then here comes Still Reserve that's sitting up like around 8 or 9% alcohol, and that was the big thing. Like, get the Still Reserve.
Yeah,
those things would handle you pretty hard, man. I've definitely had my experiences with those in the past.
When you were get introduced into it, now were your pull tabs the pops, or did they pull out and get removed completely?
It was just like the Coke cans. Well,
they used to be that way too. I mean, in the late 70s, early 80s, they transitioned from the pull tabs, which were it was a complete. The thing would remove completely. This little tab would remove all the way off, and then you had the ones that were, you push it down. It was, I don't know if you had those.
I don't think I was drinking it too.
Yeah, you weren't. Yeah, I still remember that time frame, and crazy times. But it was. I mean, the stories that you can't tell.
The first beer that I tried was an Ice House, and I think I was about 7 or 8 years old when it came out. I snuck. And for some reason in my head, like seeing just like how glorified alcohol was on TV, I thought it was going to be like Kool-Aid or something.
Oh, yeah.
Thing I'd ever tasted. I took one sip of that and I thought I was going to vomit. I was like, what the hell is this?
And to be fair, smoking was the same thing. I mean, to be fair, the first couple cigs were.
That was different for me, dude.
I took to it like a fish of water.
I loved smoking cigarettes, unlike anything I've ever put my hands on. I loved the taste of it. I loved everything about it. And
really?
Because up until I quit, I don't know what started happening, but I couldn't stand the smell being stuck on me. I'm a guy that's always got gum in my mouth, and I've always got cologne on, and it just felt like I went around all this. Dude, you can just smell when somebody's been smoking. And I got tired of, I'm never disrespectful to people like people used to be to me. You walk in the room, let you know, like I
pull a second one out.
Church people were the worst about that. But I just got to where I couldn't stand the smell.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the taste in my mouth anymore. And so, but up until that point, man, I loved everything about smoking cigarettes.
Well, I grew up with Andrew Dice Clay, and he, made smoking the big thing there. Yeah, it was just, all the differences or all the changes, when you were younger, what was permissible. Well, I mean, back in my day, we really didn't have air conditioning in the cars. And, my dad would have the windows rolled up, the little triangle window closed. He would flick it out.
I've been in those situations in the back of an old Bonneville or Caprice.
It was different, boy. People are like naming beers, and I'm going back. Going back, see, Todd said PB&Rs. That tastes like it passed through someone that drank a good beer.
Dude, that was the big thing in the clubs in Atlanta.
Yeah,
because they were like $1 a beer.
Yeah,
I had never seen a PBR until I went to Atlanta because they weren't really down in my neck of the woods, and I fell in love with it. Originally, it didn't last long. Yeah, I loved PBR.
And the stuff that we did. I mean, would you ever, or have you sat down with your kiddos and kind of said, well, Dad did a little bit of this, a little bit of that? But don't do that.
I've always been upfront with them. And that's my thing. Like, as they get older, I've told them several times, if there's ever anything you want to know about your dad, come to me, because I don't want you to ever hear anything about me that I'm not going to tell you myself. I'm not telling you I'm a saint. I'm not here to tell you I was this perfect person, anything. Like, I went through stuff. And so when I say something to you, it's not because I'm trying to be hard on you. I know I'm trying to do for you what I wish would have been done for me.
Yeah.
That's not putting down my parents by no means.
Oh, no.
I came from a very Christian family, so it was easy to get away with some of the stuff that I was doing. I remember when my band was practicing, man, dude, we was the loudest thing in this area. You could hear us from miles away. We jammed it so loud with the heavy metal and stuff. But, you know, just sitting there smoking weed and everything, got my bongs and stuff on the table. I literally have a sack of pot this big laying there, and the whole room is engulfed in marijuana smoke. And my mom, I guess we was keeping her up because she could hear the music all the way down at her house.
Right.
Just bust in the door. She's like, turn that music down. And I'm like, oh, shit. After I'm married and out of the house, you know, I was still only 18. And she comes up and she's sitting there looking at my bong and the pot and everything. She looks at me and she says, you better not be doing drugs.
Oh, no.
No, Mama, I don't do that. She's sitting there looking at it. I tell her now, she'll laugh about it. She had no idea what it was. Had absolutely no clue, dude. Right there.
Never watched Cheech and Chong. Okay.
No. It's fun. All right, I'll give you another funny story. She wouldn't mind if I tell this. This is how bad it is. She used to like to drink them orange cream sodas.
Huh? Yeah.
Not long ago, she was going to buy some orange cream sodas for her and the daughter she adopted.
Uh-huh.
Got home, and it was like the Bartles and James, like the orange cream wine coolers. Oh. And she was like, I got these new cream sodas. And she was like, yeah, she was gonna give it to the girl. And we was like, what are you doing? It's like, you don't know what this is. She got so embarrassed over that, dude. She had no clue.
Were you like, and thank you for your support?
I mean,
that was a tagline from the.
But I mean, it was what it was like growing up, you know, for them, man. That just wasn't. I was always afraid with a lot of the other stuff I did that my dad was going to disown me if he found out I was smoking marijuana. And I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. No, he was not happy by no means.
Yeah.
But when he found out I was drinking, that was what did it for him. It was just like, that was the lowest moment, knowing he had never even tried it or anything, and all the peer pressure he had went through.
Right.
He had an uncle that was like a father to him that was a very bad drunk. And he used to pressure my dad to do it. My dad didn't want to do it because he saw what it was doing to him. So he just had this very bad disdain for alcohol. So when he found out I was drinking, dude, it was like one of the lowest moments as being a son. I knew I'd let him down. But I was also in a lot of depression. That's no use, no excuse for what I was doing. But that's how I got through my day back then.
It was coping. Yeah. See, Aaron here is offering some friendly tips on how you can avoid the smell there.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't even have to do that. I'm telling you. My mom was sitting there looking right at it. No idea.
No idea. Wow.
You better not be doing drugs. I'm not. I mean, you got that fool sitting right in front of you, but I'm not.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what were you going to do at that moment? I mean.
And you know what? I blame a lot of that on the government.
Blame on the government. Okay.
I do, because if you remember the commercials growing up about this is your brain, this is your brain with drugs, this is your brain with a side order of bacon.
Right.
Or like if you smoke marijuana, and then you would see all these crazy things that they would do. It made you feel like you was going to end up a murderer or psycho or something.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, like I was getting peer pressure pretty hard, but I was like, okay, I'll take a couple of puffs of this. And dude, all I did was laugh my ass off the whole day. And I think I ate like a whole bucket of KFC chicken. It's like, I was tearing that KFC up and cotton mouth. And I was like, this ain't what they showed on the commercial.
They lied. The government lied to you.
They lied to me. I wonder what else they're lying about. So I do blame it. They talk about that being the gateway drug, and I think they made it the gateway drug because I mean, my opinion on that, I think marijuana is less harmful than alcohol.
Oh, by far.
Now, let me put it out there. I haven't touched marijuana in probably 15 years, dude. I don't want anything to do with it, but just that's me. Right. But I have, for people that are using that and not taking all these medicinal things that Big Pharma's throwing down their mouth, I don't blame them one bit whatsoever. I think it can be a very useful thing. I think it's when you become the stoner that just sits at home all day and that's all you do. That's when you become a problem. But if you use it responsibly, I think it's less of a problem than alcohol. but it was just the way we viewed it back then. And it's crazy being from the South where it's still looked at the same way as it was when I was growing up,
In
and going to
Texas,
some of these states where it's legal, and it's just everybody does it. You know?
that is my, again, as far as that whole topic, as far as marijuana, Mary Jane legalization, all for it, makes perfect sense. But I will say, I went to Vegas, I think 2 years ago or a year ago, and it's legal there. Thing that killed, the smell was everywhere. I mean, as soon as we got off the plane in the airport, they opened the doors and it was like, wow, I want a ding dong, I want a Twinkie. I mean, the entire time I'm like, oh my God.
You said you wanted a ding dong.
I want a Twinkie, I want a ding dong. The hostess cupcakes. I know where you're trying to go with that. No. But that is the only argument. And I had family there, and they said, it's not a big deal at all, but you smell it everywhere, even in your own house. If you don't do it, and it's in your, the smell is everywhere. And there was like butts everywhere, and that was the only thing I didn't like about it. It smelled like
yeah, dude. I mean, it's the same thing with cigarettes. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But like, dude, doing it to where everybody is having to, pay for it, basically. Man, when we went to some of those northern states, I was a pretty avid smoker years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're putting in that crap now, or what kind of stuff they got now. We could be going down the streets in New York or Michigan, and the stuff was so strong, it would start coming in the car, engulfing your car.
Oh, yeah.
Just coming through the AC vents. And I'm like, holy crap, dude.
Something else. Well, talking about coming into the vents, my dad was a lifelong smoker, and he had to quit at one point due to lung cancer, or tried to quit due to lung cancer. And he would be in his truck, and he could smell a cigarette 5 cars up. So you're in Vegas, you can get a ding dong or a cupcake.
I don't think Todd's talking about the Hostess brand.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about it. Yeah, there's an interesting group of people on the strip there, or out on the outskirts. It's a very lovely town.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I'm not advocating for anything out there, but I think the more as time goes by, we're realizing a lot of the stuff that's been fed down our throats, even like in the pharmaceutical industries, it's there's more natural cures out there that people could be on. I would much rather, I'll gladly say this, I would much rather see somebody smoking a joint or participating with or partaking in marijuana than taking an opiate.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And as far as concerns about driving, most people probably don't drive except unless you're Cheech and Chong. And we got DoorDash now. I mean, you get done, you order. I ordered $1,000 of Twinkies. Of course, you probably don't have DoorDash out where you're at.
No, it's about 30 minutes to the closest restaurant.
Oh.
Dude, I enjoyed that in Texas. Every morning I woke up to Fuel City tacos.
Oh, Fuel City tacos.
Breakfast tacos. Nice. But
my wife introduced me to those.
Dude, the opiates is probably the most dangerous thing I ever experienced in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Especially for these guys growing up with adverse childhood experiences and trauma. There is something, not everybody does it attached to, but for somebody that's experienced trauma, those opiates is like the best antidepressant. Gives you energy, makes you feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
And it is sink its hook in you, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I got my welcome to 40 with throwing my back out 10 years ago. And they put me on, I don't know, Darvocet, or I don't know what the heck it was. And I felt zero pain. Now I have an addictive personality, which is why I refuse to take things even down to aspirin or Advil for the younger folk. And there's good reasons. I can tell some fun stories on that one, but yeah, I could see how people could get hooked on it. I mean, because again, for about a week and a half, I went from intense pain to literally zero pain. Now, I couldn't tell you what I did that day. I mean, I was still, it was funny. I was laid up in bed taking this stuff, and I was still working 12 hours a day to get a project done. And I would go through my emails at like 9 o'clock at night and go, I don't remember sending any of this. I don't remember doing any work, but I mean, short-term memory, I guess, was gone. But yeah, the reason I'm adverse to it, my biological mother, she was on all kinds of stuff. My dad would take trash bags filled with medicine out of the house like on a weekly basis because back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have the computer system that we did. So you could go to one doctor, get prescribed something, go to another doctor, get prescribed something. And, she could tell whatever story she wanted to and these doctors were making money off the drugs. So she would literally come home and he would throw away trash bags full of medicine weekly. It was crazy.
Dude, when my dad died, he had a bag this big that the VA was trying, and he wasn't taking any of them. But just like he had every pain pill known to man. He had morphine, he had Dilaudid, hydrocodone, Percocet, Oxycontin, like every one that you think of, Demerol. It was all in there, and it just shows you, like, that's your veterans. That's what you're doing to him. That's what you're sending. He came with a problem, and you couldn't find the problem. You just sent him home with pain pills. I have never seen anything grab a hold of me in my life like opiates did, man. It was the scariest time in my life. And it happened to me during a point in time of a bad marriage, and infidelity was happening to me.
Yeah.
So it helped me forget about the BS and get on with my day, dude. It's like I knew in the back of my mind, there's probably some problems here, but I'm not focusing on them. I'm over here doing something else. And it was the wrong way to do it, but it was just so easy to attach to it. Now, fast forward 8 years after I was sober, and then I get my knee operated on. The first thing they handed me coming out of that hospital was 10 milligram Percocets. And it was just that feeling like, oh my God, dude, like I got to have something.
Yeah.
But I took them for about 3 weeks. And I remember one morning I took it and I just felt that feeling wash over me. Like, oh, and I looked at my wife and said, get this away from me right now. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Satan.
It is one of the most dangerous things, guys. If I could say anything, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, but be careful with that shit. Be careful with the stuff that they're trying to put down your throat.
Question your doctor.
I won't mention any names. They was trying to put me on statins, saying my cholesterol was high. And, next time I go back, it was like, your cholesterol is perfect. You've been taking your medicine. It's like, nope.
Eating healthy, doing the right
They
thing.
put me on blood pressure medicine at the age of 25.
Wow.
I was on clonidine. Yeah, it put me on blood pressure medicine at the age of 25. When I got 30, I came off of it. My blood pressure stays at a consistent 120/80. It's just, that's such an industry out there. You think the family courts are crooked? That goes hand in hand with it, man. And that's something that we got to talk about, guys. I know this is a little bit different than what we normally talk about, but dude, it's your children coming up in that too. They're going for their doctor's visits and their wellness. And then with the mental health the way it is, I don't know if you guys seen this past week, the new case, if there was a father that killed all three of his kids, executed them. On that Joseph Doerman. I think it was a week before that, the mom killed her 3 kids and then jumped out the window. But what is going on in people's heads these days that we're seeing stuff like this? I was watching the podcast with Joe Rogan that he had Robert Kennedy on. I'm telling you, man, you got to check that out. Have you ever heard of the chemical atrazine?
No.
Check this out. There is a chemical that we have in our water, drinking water, called atrazine. Okay. Have you ever noticed it seems like men are just becoming more and more emasculated? I think there's lots of reasons for this. They did clinical trials on frogs with this atrazine, where these frogs, were in there, male frogs. And because of that chemical, they literally turned into females.
Wow.
That's in our drinking water. There was a lot that he put in that podcast, but you should check that out, dude.
Wow.
Little things like that we have no idea, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The GMOs. I mean, all the stuff that's in our foods, our drinking water. And again, you go out and you look at society and think back 40 years to now and how much that's changed. And I mean, some of it's societal, but some of it, I would say, down to the chemical level. There's something there. I mean, it's something you can't discount. You have to look at it because something has changed. Men are no longer men.
No, they're not.
And we've got to figure out, what I mean, it's an all-out assault. The government's against you, the pharmaceuticals, and on the pharmaceutical thing, the younger case and what they're doing in California now and Texas. People need, if you think that I'm a crackpot, go back and look at and do your own research and find out who is paying, who's giving money to our politicians. I'll give you a hint. It's pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, dude, they own them.
Yeah.
They literally own them guys. Or not just that. Like, I don't know if you saw it. O'Keefe, he's no longer with Project Veritas anymore, but he released a video the other day. I got to be careful talking about this. But he released, they got an inside person that went and talked to one of the executives at BlackRock with the ESF funding.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got them on tape giving some pretty damning evidence, dude.
Oh, yeah.
About how easy it is. He said for $10,000 they can buy a senator and their influence, and they're the easiest ones to get as senators.
Oh, yeah.
He was telling the prices of what they give to get the politicians on their side to sway. I mean, he's just going straight up open on all of it. And this is the guy that does all the recruiting. Check it out, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on up under our nose, guys. And that's another reason, just like I said, it pains me because it sounds like you're crapping on people's efforts, and it is the furthest thing from it. Our movement has put so much faith in politicians and legislation that it's scary.
Yeah.
It really is scary. If you had money right now to put in their pockets, you could buy whatever legislation you want.
Yeah, if you want to get equal shared parenting passed and all whatever floats your boat, get enough money together and give it to them. You'll win it every single time. They can be bought and paid for. I mean, in Texas right now, Abbott's taking a hard line on not allowing any other bills to pass or come into law until property tax situation is fixed. And he's vetoed 77 some odd bills, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's fighting for us." Well, I read through the 77 bills that he's vetoed. It's the equivalent of they're wanting to make sure the font size on a stop sign is 20 bold font. That's the level of stuff he's vetoing. It's all smoke and mirrors, but there are so many people who are like, "Oh, go Abbott, or go your governor, or go your political party." It's all theatrics, every bit of it.
They attribute it to Steve Jobs, the one that said, those who think they're crazy enough to change the world are usually the ones that do. I'm about to say something crazy. Dave Murray, he said, sounds like we need more of the average Joes to run for political office and attorneys. I'm going to go a step further with that, Dave. I think it's time for us regular Joes to take a lot of this power that we're given to politicians and give it back to the regular Joes and the families and say, get the hell out of our lives. Yeah. That's easier said than done. But when we let government inside of our families and say, we let you control all these aspects of our lives because we're working jobs and we've got these normal lives, we don't have time to get involved in that. You get what you got here. And as long as you keep giving them that type of power to control us, you get what you've got now. They can be bought. They can be influenced. And one is some of these Joes getting in there. Dude, you got to have the majority. It is so corrupt. I say, just like the family law system, it needs to be completely revamped. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, we need to completely abolish political parties. They need to be gone. No more Republicans, no more Democrats, no more Libertarians. If you are going to run on this country and you're going to have a platform, it's going to be because of your ideals that you speak. No longer can you just say, I stand for these issues right here, and this is the color and the letter beside my name, and I'll get voted in because I'm in predominantly that letter, that color area. What the hell do you stand for? Show me how you're fighting for the people, right?
I say back it up, though.
At any time soon. So I think our country has to rise up and say, get the hell out of our lives. We're taking this back. It's our tax dollars that run this country. It's our tax dollars that put you in there. There are certain lines you can cross and there's certain lines that you can't cross. And telling me when, where, how I'm going to raise my family and pushing this political agenda and this indoctrination down their throats, I'm not going for it. Get out. That's what regular Joes need to start doing. And that message sounds crazy right now because it sounds impossible. But when you get a few million people together and they start doing that, people will take notice, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to get, people, instead of concerned about, what's going on in the ocean, who's on a Bud Light or who's, doing what commercial, getting involved in your political area, not to support, but to, hold them accountable, get people in there. They're going to do the right thing, and pay attention. Make sure that they do what they say they're going to do. That's another thing. I mean, you're talking about having, have people say, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Look at their actions, see what they've done in the past. You have to do the research, and it takes time. It's not, you can't just believe them.
With our current media, our current landscape, you only know what they want you to know.
Oh, yeah. And they will silence you if you do something different. They will shut you down.
I'll back up what Dwayne just said. John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. And his brother. I mean, yeah. Yeah, he was, put on the tinfoil hat. He was getting ready to explode some things. And, well, that didn't work out so well.
Can you imagine what would have happened if JFK could have actually eliminated the Federal Reserve, where we could no longer just print money? We wouldn't be at the trillions of dollars in debt that we are right now. I mean, all right. I don't know if I go in that section or not, but it's true, guys. You got to look in it. I believe after he was assassinated, people with values, I don't know that we've really had many. And I'm not saying he's not a perfect person. He was an aristocrat. We all know about the Marilyn Monroe and some of those those situations, which I was looking at the history of. It was a common thing between those families back then. A lot of the wives knew that stuff was going on. Completely, it should not have been happening. But when it came to caring about the people in the middle class, the regular people, I think that he had his heart in the right place. Right now, we have political theater. We have political theater. And the one thing I don't like about any of the sides of politics right now is that every day and every week that goes by, our people hate each other more and more. We have become one of the most divisive communities ever. I mean, look at all the people that are dying, all of the people that are claiming victim, people that can't even associate with each other anymore, the agendas that we're seeing on TV. I mean, it's just sad to see the world come into what it is. And we need to make sure that we stop putting the people in there. I mean, these are the guys that created the problem. Expecting solutions to come out of that system is ridiculous. The same thing with the family courts. Expecting solutions to come out of that as it stands is ridiculous.
Yeah. We'll just pass a law. We'll do this. We'll do that. Vote for me again. I mean, talking as an almost 51-year-old here, I've seen a thing or two over the decades, and I see, their promises. The promises aren't kept. They'll tell you. What's funny is they'll tell you the promises are kept, but then when you lift the lid up a little bit, you see that they didn't do anything, and it's just rampant. There's no end in sight. They have their money train. They don't care about you.
I'll go back on the last two presidents, something that we were just talking about that ticks me off on promises. They all said that they was going to declassify those JFK documents, and they didn't.
Well, wasn't it with the JFK documents? Wasn't it a 50-year? I still remember reading about this in high school, that after I think 50 years they become declassified. But then when it came out a couple years ago, it was redacted like crazy. I mean, it was.
For some reason, we've had it several times where they say we're going to declassify all these documents, and for some reason they get resealed. We, the American people, deserve to know what happened.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing to hide, why would they keep doing that? And if those are promises you're going to make, you need to keep them. Something is going on. There is an elite society, I believe, that lets you know what they want you to know. Yeah. That's all we are granted. And you know what? They can keep that society. Just, we want to keep our families. That's the way I feel about it. There's just too much government, man. The more that I hear people wanting government intervention in any aspects of our life or solutions, we're heading down the wrong road. Everything comes with glitter and sounds great until it gets here.
Yeah. And
then we find out we just keep
sprinkled turds. Yeah, yes. And we keep buying it. We keep
better. Thank you. Can I have another?
And then we accept it. I mean, well, whatever side of the aisle of the bug that you're on, and again, for this part, it doesn't matter. I think everyone knows where I was at from the beginning today. but it really showed me how willing people are willing to just roll over. I mean,
Masks.
yeah, I mean, getting right down to the whole mask thing, that told me how quickly.
I'm not saying it, but
it showed me that, wow, everybody just rolled
don't
over.
get me wrong. I believe some of the are good for you.
Some
Okay,
of them
but
that
when
had
you're
50
being
years
forced,
of,
when we're supposed to be the land of the free, and you're saying no, this is what this is what you do. And we watch places that claim to be free speech and champions of this stuff, dude. Like I'm a rock and roll guy. I watched Rage Against the Machine become Rage with the Vaccine.
that was a weird one, because I'm going, wait, Rage Against the Machine, that's your entire thing, and then you went that way. What
the only
the
thing
hell?
Amarillo can say is, I went to Harvard. I studied political science. Yeah, that doesn't excuse what you're doing right now. Right now, being the rebel is not going along with the madness.
Yeah.
Rock and roll used to be rebellious. If they wonder why rock and roll is dead, it's because they've all become corporate sellouts.
Oh, yeah. That whole that 2, 3, 4 whatever year time frame, just it really I'd always suspected that the population was the person is smart, the people are dumb, that kind of thinking. But that whole time period really just showed me how people were willing, and the whole we love each other. The fist fights over toilet paper, which I'm not gonna. I know the importance of toilet paper. I am not getting the John Wayne stuff. I want the Charmin. But it showed you like all the cracks in our system, our supply chains, what the government can do to you, and how people just rolled over.
They did. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, too, like we fell for it. We thought the zombie apocalypse was happening, man. We didn't know what was going on. I tried to be respectful, wear the mask and everything, but just as the time goes by and you see how all this is being forced upon you and how human beings are being treated, we got bamboozled, man.
Oh,
we really did. And like this inflation and everything, like we're paying the consequences. We're definitely paying the consequences.
And we're letting the people that put us more and more in debt and continue to do so still run the show. That's the part that honestly blows my mind. I'm like, wow.
Little shout out real quick. I get a little side of me out. Walt said, popular rock and roll is dead. It takes some digging to find the good stuff. Queens of the Stone Age new record is pretty good though. LOL. I found a new record that I don't do often that just blew my mind. And I was not expecting it one bit whatsoever. Dude, Stained just released a new record. Well, they've only released a single from it. That will blow away anything else from the bands in the 90s. It's some of their heaviest stuff they've ever done. And I know Aaron Lewis has been a really big champ behind some of the issues that we're talking about right now.
Right.
But you check it out. It's called Lowest and Me. Man, I was thinking about that earlier this week too. I mean, the sacrifices people make to get out here and fight for the things they believe in. Man, I miss doing music. I miss doing those things. And I've let a lot of that just go to the side to fight for what I believe in. And people are so busy with their lives. They're like, look, I believe in this. I think it needs to change. But what difference do I make? You make all the difference in the world, guys. You make all the difference in the world. When we start shifting that mindset to I can't to I can. What if you are only, this little bit of it, when you start adding that up and you start multiplying it, it becomes something.
Yeah.
These conversations need to be had. I got to give a big round of applause to Joe Rogan for having the conversations that he's been having. I don't agree with him on everything by no means.
Right.
At least we got somebody that we know is not bought and paid for it, which, I mean, he made a good bit of money off the Spotify deal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie about that. But he don't give a shit what anybody thinks about him. This is the conversation. Whatever I want to talk about today, this is it. And he's getting higher ratings than what is supposed to be our news.
Yeah. Well, he's willing to have the uncomfortable conversations for the right reasons. He's willing to admit he's wrong on something. He's willing to at least listen to it and talk and get the conversation going and try to promote some education. And I think that's resonating with a lot of people. Need obviously more people that are going to, listen in. And again, even at the end of the day, if you still don't agree with me or agree with Rogan or agree with whoever, that's at least you're educated. You're not, you're not buying into the, one story and then your other story is. I mean, I have people argue with me that the children's story hour situations aren't bad. And I'll, try to show them, and there's only a few medias that you can show it on.
Yep.
And they'll sit there and either block you or you'll get a 30-day ban or something like that. But you get people that cognitive dissonance. They need to at least look at both sides of it and make a decision. We used to do that.
We got a comment in here. It's going, to the issues. And I hate to even read this, but I got to give you my truth, brother. Chris and Antwerp said, so my wife just had a baby last night that I was here for. Just wondering if I should actually get a paternity test. We were going through some issues and we're possibly divorcing, but some other stuff happened and she is not sure if it's mine or not. Do I really want to know? I am with her again and plan on raising my own no matter what. So here's the thing, Chris. The fact that you're even questioning it right now should let you know you will question this for the rest of your life if you don't. And you need that peace of mind. The other side of that was, what if you're the other side of this and that was your kid and you didn't know about it, right? There's somebody else that's involved, and that's even hard to think about in that. But that kid needs to know too. There could be medical issues that come up later on down the line, and if they have a different father and you don't know that medical history, it could be very detrimental to that child. That child deserves to know who their father is. I understand relationships can have these things that can go. There's all different sorts of things that can happen. Mm. If you know that there's things that have happened and you two are willing to work it out, that's between the two of you. But the child deserves the truth. You deserve the truth. You're going to want the peace of mind. And I would find a way that if you could do it civilly to make it happen, or else I believe it will become a big problem for you in the future, man. I believe there should be a paternity test upon every child that's born. 1 out of 3 people that do take a paternity test find out they were not the father. Okay. That is very high numbers, guys. We're right around 30 to 33% of fathers that are testing find out that they are not the dad. If I was you, I can't tell you, but if I was you, absolutely. And if you put your name on that dotted line and you find out later that you were not the father, and now she wants to go with that man, you will be financially responsible, and there's little that you can do. That might not seem like a big deal to you right now, but let a few years go by, emotions and wars start to happen, and you'll be kicking yourself in the ass for not doing what you're doing right now. The fact that you're questioning it is telling you what you need to do.
Yeah, and if you have her on your side right now, like, hey, and maybe you couch it like Eric was saying, it's a medical thing. It's the right thing for the child. We're putting, the child is what's important here, not us. You can tell her whatever you want to, but medical alone should, personally, that the most logical way, because, she's gonna be like, what do you mean? Well, actually, but in the comment, she even doubted it, like the child may not be his. So even then,
I don't know the story.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's giving you the truth and you guys are trying to work through something, that's better than most of these situations that we see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually they lie to you.
You guys are doing this amicably and something was going on. You was taking a break, whatever. That's your personal business. We don't need to get into that. I would definitely protect myself with that. Protect the kid too, man. I mean, you need it. And just got to be honest with you. I think sometimes as guys, when we talk to other guys, we know that that's a very emotional thing. So we tiptoe around it sometimes. Yeah. You got to let your veins go ice cold, brother.
Yeah. Be very logical about it.
Ice cold. Do what you need to do. Rip the Band-Aid off and say, this is reality. I'm going to face reality. What I do after that. And you really need to sit down and think, is this the road that I want to go down? Because the rest of your life could be predicted off of this situation. So you need to tread it carefully.
And just what Eric was saying also about the future part of it is, if you sign that acknowledgement of paternity, you are on the hook. 2 years, 3 years, if things go south or whatever, you're on the hook for the next 18, 21, whatever state you're in, number of years. So you have that. Now, again, on the flip side, just kind of thinking about it all the way through, which is what's important is thinking it through, is if it's determined that you're not the father. that other person does have some amount of rights. You can get them to sign over their rights. You know, what kind of person is that? And that's going to create some whatever in that dynamic, that triangle, that you'll have to, you know, figure out and work through. And these are adult situations you have to kind of work through. But yeah, just saying it's, you know, the child's mine, I don't care. Medically alone is reason not to do that. Another thing, more data to throw at you. Over half of all marriages end in divorce, and 70% of those are 80% are done are initiated by women. And right now things may be doing okay or better, but that can change tomorrow, and you'll be on the hook for 18 years. The final, I guess, thought of it. I know Eric wants to jump back in there, but the final thought is you have stepchildren, you have bonus children. I have bonus children. I don't love them any less. I mean, I don't know if it's men or what, but we do form bonds with children that are not biologically ours, knowing that they're not biologically ours. So if you're worried about that, it may not be the case.
Yep. Re-answer down here. He said, awesome. Thank you. She is totally fine with getting a test. We have a 5-year-old together and he is mine 100%. She has a restraining order against this other guy because he turned out to be a horrible person. I would say, yeah, dude, if you guys can do this amicably, because if it's your child, I know you're going to want to be in the life of this child. But there's a lot of problems that could present themselves off of that. That's kind of, it's a kind of a tricky thing to talk about. I get it. But
and why it's so important to
and I'm going to be honest with you, you guys have already split so you know that there's been problems, and those things tend to, dude. Here's the pot calling the kettle black. I married the same woman twice. The second time it lasted longer, and she did the same thing again. And if you guys had that break and there was somebody that came in the picture that quick, I mean, you guys, if you're friendly now, you might ought to discuss that. Like, let's come together and let's co-parent. This is my kid. If it's not, we'll still get along. And we've got this other kid, but is this worth continuing? When you got love and emotions and stuff in there, I know that's even hard questions to talk about, but there's some signs there that there's definitely some talking you guys need to do.
Get the paternity test first.
Yes, get the paternity.
Just, if we're going to do it in order of importance, get the paternity test first. Get it done now. Get a state. Do not go to CVS. Get a.
Yes, do not do that.
Yeah.
Make sure that it is a legal thing. What happens a lot of times is these people get paternity tests that you can buy off the internet or in a CVS, and it does not hold up. They will not use it because you could have tampered with it. It wasn't handled professionally. I think it's like $100 to get.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, just go and get it done. And if she's willing to do it, that's half the battle right there. You got a lot of them to do it.
You want to jump into an area that may blow up a little bit? What do you think about in that scenario with, you know, again, making assumptions and where we're at? What do you think about child support? If it turns out to be the other kid's child, and if it turns out to be his child and they break up, but let's do the easy one. If it's the guy with the restraining order and all that, should there be child support? Because the thing people need to think about, a lot of people want to go, yeah, let's get it done. But when you put a kid on, or when you put someone on child support, you're inviting the government into both the guy's life and the kid's life. The kid becomes a ward of the state. I wish they had that in bold letters on the top of it. By the way, when you do this, the child becomes this. You're in the state system. That child, our tentacles are in you.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to it.
I mean, if we're going to go red pill in this too, man, like I see the restraining order and stuff. She was the one in the relationship with him, not you. You need to find out what was going on there too. There's 3 sides to every story: her side, his side, and the truth.
Yeah. I mean, you can make assumptions. So it was cool enough for her to get with him, and then now there's a restraining order because he turned out to be a bad guy.
There you go. Carnell.
Yeah.
You need to talk to Mr. Carnell. That would be somebody I'd refer you to if you go to thepaternitycoach.com and fill it out. Tell him Eric Carroll sent you, and he will take care of you. But this man can tell you everything behind it. He paid 11 years in child support for a kid that wasn't his. He is representing some of the richest people in the world in cases like this, dude, and can
passed
tell you
laws.
the ins and outs of why this is so important. And men need to hear about this more. I think the only notice or like the only awareness that we really get out on just how bad these issues are on episodes of Maury. And they're not giving you what you need. That's entertainment. This is real shit right here, dude.
This is the next 18. Well, it's lifelong because probably whichever way it goes, you're going to be in this kid's life in some way for the rest of your life and the kid's life.
Yep.
And it's not saying that you're not an adult now, but it's time to adult up. There's a
This
child
gentleman's
involved.
going to be attached to her no matter what because he's got another kid with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You've got that. But yeah, paternity test, I would get that today. Get it through qualify again. Go to the paternity coach. He'll be able to direct you on the best way to go about doing that because you don't want to get the CVS or the Walgreens or whatever's in your area one there. Have it ready to go, and then sit down and have a honest conversation. And I hate to say this because I know I get flack for it, but whatever she tells you, she may believe it, and she probably does believe it in that very moment she's saying it, but that does not mean it's the way it is tomorrow.
Well, you said the other one's yours. I would do a paternity test there too.
Yeah, I was not wanting to say that out loud.
I know it.
Glad you
did.
did.
Say it. It's like, okay, you could test this one, but you know this one's yours. And we're not making assumptions. I've seen everything in the book, brother. And you know why people get so hurt over these issues is because they think that wouldn't happen to me.
30 to 33%
that would not happen to me. That's not my situation. I know this person. I love them. And it's hard. It's hard to even go there because we already know the pain that men are experiencing, right? In these issues. Could you imagine that feeling's got to be like this child? You know, I've been raising them. They might not be mine. Like to even have to question that.
Yeah.
Think about the ones that have found that out too, man. I mean, like how traumatic is that for the kids?
The person that you called dad all this time, it's not. Then you find out about your mom because ladies, I got to say it is a different scale. Moms when you have sex with a guy and you get pregnant, I mean, that's a lot of responsibility. I try to be more selective.
Well, don't have infidelity either.
That would be a good start.
You could end up having somebody else's kid. You could end up picking something that Ajax don't take off, and then you start passing it around to other people. There's so many people that can pay the consequences of your actions, and the only person that knows that it's going on is you. You know, unless they catch you. Right. You're literally the only person. And sad thing is, in a lot of these situations, they've been with so many people that even they don't know. It's like let me give you the lineup right here.
The statistics that you're speaking from, the 30 to 33% of paternity tests that turn out to where the father the father that who he thought he was the father is not the father. I don't know if you remember the stat, but how many times do they have to go back to the well to find the father on average?
Wasn't it like 3 or 4?
4.
Okay. Yep. 4
paternity tests to find the right father in that 30 to 33% number. That's because when you sit and think about that, wow, and we all see the Maury episodes of they're on the 11th father. I'm 1,000% sure, which my wife and I, we watch that trash TV. We love it. Whenever a woman says I'm anything over 100% sure, it's not the father. It's like every time.
Well, think about it too. Even after they're like caught dead-handed, you know, like there's no getting out of it. They run backstage. Oh my God, it's not true. It's not true.
They fall on the ground.
It's like Cupcake. Come on. Come on. You've been exposed. But I put on them emotions. I put on those tears. But baby, you know I love you. You know I wouldn't do that to hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to hurt you.
Ice cold. I like that. I like that from Larnell. I'm stealing that from somebody. But I'm going to keep repeating it because it's good. Letting them veins run ice cold, brothers. The only person that can protect you is yourself, man. And because I tell you, once it goes into the system, they are not there to protect you. They are there for your wallet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when my ex-wife, they forced child support on my ex-wife who didn't have a job. and they pounded me and really forced it. I mean, forced the whole thing. The video is out there. It talks about it. They want their money. They don't care if it's a man or a woman. It's whoever can pay them money. That's all they care about. They want to be in the system. They want you in the system.
You ever heard that song by Tom Petty? You don't have to live like a refugee. Brings my next guest up, Dr. Brooks McKenzie.
Oh,
he said, yes. Give me a ride to y'all's event tonight. So I almost forgot. Thank you for bringing that up, Brooks. I'm not actually going to be there. I think there's been some misconceptions that I'm going to be there because I was asked, there is an event going on in Texas tonight, and they asked me to do a presentation. I did, I think, a 20 to 30 minute presentation. It's a group of grassroots activists there in Texas talking about judicial accountability. And it's amazing to see these new faces getting together and trying to create something. Dwayne, can you give us the details on that event? I forget the name of it.
Yeah, it's actually pulling up now. I'm gonna put that into the.
It is a live event, though. I just won't be there personally, but I am a speaker at it.
Yeah, it's in Tarrant County. Let's see here. Putting that on there right now. It should be popping up there, and you can throw it on the screen. That's the website you would go to for the event. But let's see. I can take it one step further. But yeah, the event tonight is in Tarrant County, Texas, so outside of Fort Worth. And it's at 2000 Beach Street. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time this evening. I'm not sure if it's going to be live broadcast or not, but there's going to be some speakers there. So folks will actually, Eric will be doing a video, pre-recorded video there, and it's really kind of a fundraiser. The Texans for Judicial Accountability Group is.
I guess they hit the right button with the last my soundboard fell.
It just hit everything. I was like,
stop it.
Hitting everything. So Texans for Accountability.org is an organization that was started, I guess, roughly a year ago by, one person, Jennifer Lundy, and has other people on there, but she was a court reporter, and her story is actually in the website. You can read up more about it there. But she was a court reporter, and she's seeing these things happening in family court, and she's like, "This is kind of weird." And so that kind of got her really started with trying to get accountability in Texas, because right now our recordings aren't recorded, or the family court events aren't being recorded. There's no judicial oversight. There's a number of challenges there with trying to have family court be ethical. And so the fundraiser tonight is to raise funds and have speakers at it and have everyone kind of come together and talk about the experiences and what they're going through in family court. And then she actually speaks all over the state, trying to promote those different things. And trying to remember some of the other big points. But yeah, a lot of it's just trying to get accountability, because today in Texas and across the country and the world, there really isn't. I mean, if you go to family court, the judge is the judge, jury, and executioner, and whatever he or she says goes. There's a lot of challenges where whichever law firm gets paid the most amount of money for campaign contributions, they're the ones that magically win every court case. And her and that group is trying to expose that and trying to get accountability out there. And behind the scenes, there are a number of judges that are very supportive of it. They're just trying to get the numbers and the process down where they can start really exposing this stuff. And this event tonight is to really get some noise out there, get that going.
I hadn't talked about it in a while, but my very first trip to Texas, I had a little bit of time. I was doing a conference down there, and before we did that conference, the day before, they was holding election season for the judges, and so I was only like a year old with Dad Talk back then, so we went and hooked up some microphones and everything, and went to some of these judges' re-election parties. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see what we saw, dude. It was nothing but attorneys that they're raising money.
Yep.
Got to talk to some of the judges. Those judges were very receptive to the shared parenting and everything, but we was at one. I was sitting there talking to the judge. He was wanting to know more about it, and one of the attorneys was sitting over there listening to us, out the corner of his ear. He came up, Judge, no. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Right in the middle of our conversation, but it
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was like, okay, that's the kind of investigative journalism we really need to be having, though, just to show people like the ins and outs of what's going on. There's so much, one good thing about Texas is there's a lot of opportunity there. So there's a lot
of opportunity
to make money, but because of that money, there's corruption.
Yeah, I mean with the Title 4D funding, which is money your taxes, states they recover an amount they spend on child support, 66 cents in every dollar they spend. They recoup. There's also a bonus check pool, which Texas wins hands down every year. Last year's was I think just over $800 million as a bonus check. So you have that. You have the judges' retirement campaigns are being funded out of these funds, and of course, it's the cottage industry, the millions that are made there. So there's just a lot of, I would call it corruption. When you have two parents that walk in on equal footing, neither one have had any issues whatsoever, and then one walks out as a visitor or goes to jail or gets a crazy high child support number, and there's no reason for it. There's something wrong. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to figure that part out. And there's lots that there. Actually, Dr. Brooks McKenzie mentioned Wayne Delsolfina. He's done a lot. Jeff Morgan has done a lot in that area. Actually, pissedoffparent.com. I mean, a lot of it has Texas and Fort Worth information there. There's been a few things there that talk to it. But yeah, I mean, and if you think that there's nothing wrong, I don't know.
I mean, we got to give the reality, though. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. 99.9% of this population, yes, that's a made-up statistic, but I believe it, have no idea what Title 4D is. They have no idea the money that's being exchanged. It seems like more people know about it inside of our groups because we're connected on social media. This has got to be put out on a scale where it's organized effort, and people actually bust the doors wide open onto this is what's going on in the family court. And it's going to take much more than, what we're seeing right now. That's when I say it's up grassroots, like, dude, dad talk can 100% do it. We can't do it by ourselves.
Right.
If there was some good videos and investigative journalists and stuff that could be hired, and then when that comes out, you get media campaigns and stuff going on where it's going all across the country. Look at what's going on in the inside of these family courts. This thing would be over with in a heartbeat. I guarantee you it would be over with in a heartbeat, but we don't have it.
Right.
And that's something that needs to be worked on. That's not my field. I don't like fundraising.
Yeah. Right.
But it's going to be needed. Because I mean, even in, like Wayne's line of work, I know Wayne has to go. And once he gets these videos done, he has to promote them.
Right. Oh yeah.
There's got to be so much in the budget to make it. There's got to be so much in the budget to push it out.
Right.
That's the only way that you can get it. Because let's be honest, this type of content isn't the content that ranks on the algorithm.
Right.
Too much other stuff going on. So you got to take a different approach. So the fact that they're doing these, this fundraising stuff tonight, I wish them nothing but the best of luck, and I hope they can raise as much as they can to fight against it. But guys, we're fighting a losing war, to be honest with you. Title 4D is the magic weapon that nobody knows about.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like the stealth ninja weapon that people just don't realize. They talk about best interest of the child, and I'm here for they're here for your kids, but not the way you're thinking of. And yeah, most people don't know it. And I've had conversations with people outside of the group, and they just look at you with that, like, what are you talking about? I mean, it's almost, explaining aliens to them. They have no idea. And even the lingo, the language that we use, even though I thought I've dumbed it down, like I talk about parental alienation or custody interference, which what it is in the phrase. People are like, what are you talking about? Custody interference. What is that? I'm like, well, when someone interferes with custody, what do you mean? It's like when mom do what?
Because they haven't been through it.
Yeah. And then of course, sometimes though, when you say it, they go, oh my God, that's what happened. The light bulb goes off. And then, and then unfortunately 99.9%, which I'm going to say isn't a made up statistic, go, oh wow, that sucks, and then they walk away to look at shaking boobies or whatever.
I mean, more people are talking about it now, but even the right alongside Title 4D, just as important, if not more important, is the welfare state, and with Section 8, and you see how that systematically took fathers out of the black household, and then you got these people like Black Lives Matter who are going around saying Black Lives Matter, but their statement is to fight for moms and women. And they're not even addressing the fact of this biased laws that has completely decimated the Black community and taken the father out of the home. And if you talk to a lot of those children that come up from the streets or that ended up in jail, they'll tell you one of the biggest things that contributed to where they are now is because they didn't have a father, they didn't have masculinity at home, and did not have a role model.
Yeah.
Why is it not being addressed? And guys, we have the ability to do that if everybody participates and becomes a part of that solution. I'm hoping, I'm still very nervous about it. One of the documentaries that I've got that we've put a lot of time into is supposed to be finished up this weekend. I'll have to watch it with the party that it was based off of, make sure everything's good. We should have that one rolling out sometime soon. And the Jeff Younger one is not too far behind it. But when these come out, they're only as good as the support that it gets. But all of these are being made to expose the deeper issue of what's going on. Because right now, the issues just aren't getting the platform that they need.
Right.
Parental rights is a hot discussion. When you look at the trans issue right now, that's one of the most hot button issues out there right now. But if you dive deeper into it, the family law fits right into that conversation. But it's like our advocates haven't figured out how to marry those two yet. It's there.
You're spot on the trans issue and family court. What law or what bill is being presented right now in California?
I forget the number on it, but it's basically if you don't affirm it, the mom gets
family court.
I say the mom gets custody. It would be either parent that doesn't. The parent that affirms would get custody, but be honest with you, I have yet to have somebody come to me saying that their husband is trying to do this to their kid. It's all been single women most of the time pushing this. Yeah,
but again, the family court and the trans discussion that is smack dab in the middle. I mean, California right now has a bill that if they're saying in family court, if you go in there and you're like, no, I do not want my kid. Well, it's happening to Jeff Younger. But if I don't want my kid transition, the family court said you can't see your kid anymore. That's what happened to Jeff Younger. A family court judge said this
in Texas.
In Texas, which
moving to California, so it's becoming a California issue. But this happened in deep red Texas.
Conservative values, that's a whole other. What they did.
What else does Texas have that I just mentioned? Opportunity. It's got money.
Lots of money.
A lot of money behind that, guys. And once that child takes that direction, they are a lifelong customer to Big Pharma.
Oh yeah, they are for the rest of their life. They have to take certain drugs.
Yes, they are a lifelong customer. That is something. This issue, this agenda, I can make money off of it for the rest of the time. So of course, yes, this is going to get pushed, and it's going to get pushed hard. And I think you got a lot of fatherless kids out there that never had any direction. They're not too sure where they fit in. This movement is so accepting of them because this is who you are. Have you guys seen that they're actually giving tests? You can take written tests online to find out if this is who you are. Do you really need to take an online multiple option test to find out what you are and how you feel, what you're attracted to? Serious.
Well, it's it. You're an avocado. You're a this. You're a that. And it's like, oh my god, stop doing that outside of fun. Yeah, that. Oh god, gets me going down a dark path. But we need people to like, share, subscribe because again, as you've mentioned a number of times, even though you have where are you at now? 750,000 all in with all your platforms.
Oh no. It's about 870,000. Yep.
870,000 viewers. And you have to wonder, of course, you probably have the data behind it, how many people actually see your material.
Between YouTube and Facebook, it's about 530,000 followers. Right now, it's saying there's 14 viewers in that feed. And guys, trust me, I get the metrics. I see who they even give the opportunity for it to go out to. It's matching what you're seeing there. I go on other platforms like TikTok, and dude, I did it just to prove to myself like what was going on. We got 50,000 followers in a month. Video is doing like 500,000 views. Instagram, for some reason, hasn't been hit like it has over here on Facebook and on YouTube. But there is certain issues that if you do certain things, this is what's going to happen. And that's why, like, and I'm going to tell you, trying to create that Substack is going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because trying to get people to go from one platform to another is very, very difficult. And then another thing is trying to get financial support from these guys to make these projects that I feel like are so deeply needed is another one, because they are beaten up. Their wallets are empty. But we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. There was a sacrifice made. I mean, it's my nuts on the chopping block right now with these. Okay. I went out on a leap of faith. I do believe at the end of the day, Dwayne, the James and Jeff Younger thing, it's going to take off.
Yeah.
It's going to take off. I'm going to need you guys' help, but it's going to take off. And let me tell you something. If you do this and you get behind Jeff Younger, he is a fierce family law advocate. When I say fierce, I mean fierce. He is not going to mess around with him.
Well, that mini documentary that you did where he was talking about, you played it last weekend, or the preview, I guess. He said, look, I'm done. I'm sorry, I should say it a little differently. I'm done playing nice. I'm done not being nice about this. It's time to say what needs to be said and get it out there. And I don't care what people think.
I'm at that point too, brother.
Yeah.
I know what stepping my foot into those issues does. It does what you see in that view counter, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, you can sit there and ignore it and not talk about it and be more accepted, or you can get your ass off of the couch and actually say what needs to be said and not fear them. I don't fear the bastards anymore. I just really don't. And as he said, we are not hardcore enough. This movement is not hardcore enough. Yeah. And we let the narratives win. We let the stereotypes win. We let the stereotypes and the narratives force people into these traps inside of the family courts. Dude, even like this with Younger, they tried to use the fact that he would not go to those supervised visitations to make it. He is a deadbeat dad. He doesn't want to see those kids. He will not show up to that supervised visitation. One, he had no reason to be seeing his kids under supervised visitation. So that was a belief that he stood upon. And the other was, he said, I am not going to show up to this meeting with seeing my kid in a dress and a wig. I will not do it. That is going against his mental health. I am his father. I want him to know that I stand against this and what's being done to him. I find respect in that. When everybody's sitting there pointing the finger and saying, this is what this guy is, and putting him down, he said, no, hell no. This is what I believe in. I'm standing firm. It's what you got to do, man.
Yeah. And if you think he's a wuss or whatever, go watch the video up at Denton. I'm still pointing towards Denton, where he spoke at the college. If you think he's a wuss,
that guy ain't
watch that video.
And he was going to take on all of them.
Yes, he was.
He was going to take on every single one of them. I'm going to tell you, dude, Jeff is a jiu-jitsu guy and a boxer.
Yeah.
You haven't seen him, but the thing is like, he's got the cop putting his head down and dragging him out of there to where he couldn't even move. And he's got like hundreds of people on top of him. When he says, we're not hardcore enough, guys, we're not hardcore enough.
Yeah.
That's coming from somebody that knows what it is to be hardcore. Yeah. I told you that was a gut check for me, man. It's like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened to me, being put inside of a situation like that. I don't ever want to be put inside of a situation like
Imagine that. You're walking into that college and there were hundreds of kids there with signs screaming at you, calling you every name in the book, and he still did it.
I'll give you another one. His biggest supporters are going to be the conservatives. Okay. His biggest supporters should be the church.
Yeah.
And he calls them out every single chance that he gets.
Yeah.
Because he sees that there's wrong going on. At the trajectory that we were going, we were very popular amongst the conservatives. I could get inside any event that I wanted to go broadcast this show. I started seeing the problem and the lack of involvement. I called him out.
Yeah.
I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your title or your affiliation.
Letter.
Like I'm not joining a football team and just rooting for the home team. What are you doing? And so you lose support that way because you're not willing to compromise on your belief system and what you're going to talk about and calling out the shortcomings of what's going on.
And how can you compromise on something like this? fathers, parents wanting to see their kids.
They've made the cancel culture to the point that people are afraid of just losing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, you can lose your career, you can lose everything, you can lose custody, money, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we need more people to band together, like with the whole Mulvaney thing. People said no, and they voted with their pocketbooks. They said we're not going to buy this brand of beer. We're going to go this route, and they're taking notice. There are companies that have said, "Ooh, we're not doing this anymore." Starbucks.
Oh, dude, I didn't know about Bed Bath and Beyond.
Was it Bad Back and Beyond? That's where I go. Bad Back and Beyond.
They're gone.
Yeah,
they got shut down over it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that until not long ago. There's like, there's a sale at Bed Bath and Beyond. I was like,
liquidation.
Really? And I went and looked it up. Yeah. Yep.
And they were supporters of that environment. Yeah. People need to vote with their pocketbooks. I mean, I know that, people are concerned, scared, but unfortunately, this has got to the point now where people have to stand up and start doing something. Liking, sharing, subscribing, getting on Substack, getting involved are those things that you can do to get the word out. It changes the algorithm. It lets people know that they're not, because again, once one person stands up, then someone else will, and then someone else will, and then that grows. There's more of us out there than there are of people that oppose us. It's just the 1%ers are now allowed to dictate to everybody else how things are going to be.
Well, that was the reason behind the censorship too. Is making sure that you didn't know how much support that you got out there.
Well, that's why this show.
It's meant to silence you and make you think that there is nobody that really cares about it. Oh, look at your numbers. Look at this. It's a joke. Then you got people that show up and put the clown face and laugh at you. Oh, you're ridiculous. You're this. Oh, look at this. But then you go and you find somewhere where your voice is actually free to speak, and you find out just how many people are. They're not messing with Walsh right now. I'm very shocked at how big his voice is and blunt he's been with his voice. And they're allowing it to go because I know that there's nothing they can do about it. They know they're in the spotlight with this guy.
Yeah, they can't reduce his numbers. Yeah.
And it took some hairs on the sack to take a step out and do what he did because too many people were afraid to touch that issue. It was guys like Jeff Younger that were flying that flag, though, man. Yeah.
Well, which is easier, to bow down to the establishment or to stand up against them?
I think it's easier to stand up against them because if you bow down to them, you might think you're getting this temporary comfort, but it's going to come with a consequence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, complacency and not saying anything. Yeah, it may be, I guess, easier in the short run because people are going to pat you on the back and whatever else. I think that's why this whole transition thing's happening is these kids who have been raised without a father and all the other things that are going on in this world, they're like, we're trying to figure out who the hell we are. And then that community goes, yeah, come on in. Oh, yeah, by the way, you're
You got a friend there in Texas that is a detransitioner. Mm-hmm. He turned into a woman. He was that way for years.
Yeah.
He was an escort, done several things, and he's backed off, and now he's trying to advocate behind these causes. He said it's been one of the loneliest things for him trying to do what he feels is right because he was like, when I was a part of that, we all got together and we felt like we was a part of something. I was like, now I have nobody.
Yeah.
Like they call upon him when it's time to testify and stuff like that. But most of his days are spent like by himself. And my heart was very heavy for the guy. He's telling the honesty behind it. And I saw that down at the Texas Capitol. It's not that these kids are evil. It is easy to take somebody that is looking for where they fit in and wanting somewhere to be accepted to find somewhere that says, well, you don't care what you are. Come here. You're a part of this. You are important. And they feel like they are a part of something.
Valued. Yeah.
And it's, you got so many kids that are lost and looking for purpose now, man. And dude, let's be honest. When we were younger, we were doing the same thing. We wanted to fit in.
I could have gotten to a game.
You could have never told me back then that this would be what's trendy now. There is no way you could have told me that.
Yeah.
I would not have believed it.
There is, no way if you would have talked to me, 20, 30 years ago that we'd be having these type of conversations that they're going to put in cat litter boxes in schools because if one kid identifies as a cat, you're like, I gotta mute this. I mean, I would have never in a million years thought that. Never.
Well, and it's a cry for attention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. My kids, well, now 19 well, 17 through 22 now. But back then, everybody was all the kids were talking about how they were, this, that, and the other. They're all just looking for acceptance. They're all just,
Man.
they're trying to be, I want to be an individual just like everybody else. And that they're looking for, to where do they fit in? Because again, their world, trying to figure it out.
Well, and I think a lot of times, people think, you just got to be soft and passive and stuff, and that's how you win them over. You win them over with love. You don't win them over with hate. There's a difference in hate and standing for what you believe in. We started off earlier on talking about this show about like when we did what our parents didn't want us to do, how they disciplined us. And we didn't like it back then, but we realize now they were doing this because they loved us and they were trying to guide us, and we respect that now. The kids will respect this one day if you make a stand. They might not understand it right now, but they know what you're standing for and that you didn't back down. You can't expect a 13 or 14-year-old kid that's going through this to understand what your 30, 40, 50-year-old self is doing right now. Right. They don't have that experience, but they will one day.
And they'll look back.
You need to do this without being apologetic. And that's
where parenting comes in.
It does.
You got to be a parent. You got to either learn how to do it or figure it out and teach your kids. Because if you don't, the world's going to.
It's crazy. It was, somebody was pointing out on this, a few of my reels and stuff over on Instagram. It was like, there's only one particular class of people that's doing this. I'm not going to get into it because that'll just bring. I was like, that's not true. It was like, it's all races. It's all, and I was like, no, they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth. There's something behind this liberal mindset, man. I hate to call it. I'm just going to call it for what it is, guys. It is a liberal mindset. And I guess that's another reason why I've taken to RFK Jr. so much is that was the liberals that I had respect for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever we've got here, this extreme indoctrination, like, I don't know what that is. It's evil.
Yeah.
And it's on both sides.
No. Well, the thing is at least the liberals are honest about their position.
Yes.
The conservatives lie about it. They'll tell you and say all the things you want to hear and then do all the stuff behind your back. There's a reason why conservatives are getting millions of dollars in pharmaceutical money. There's a reason.
Great documentary that just came out. I'll give you guys, and you'll like it, especially if you're action and you like the nostalgia that we talk about. Have you seen the new Arnold documentary that they did on Netflix?
I have not, no.
So it's a 3-parter. The first part is on his weightlifting career. Oh my God, he was a freak.
Yeah.
Oh God. The second part was on his movie career. And the third part was on his politics.
Mm-hmm.
And his favorite word back then was he would call it the schmay. And he said basically the schmay was the show that you put on to get the results that you need. Yeah. And he would show like how the schmay was the show that on TV, all of these politicians at the State House hated each other. But then he showed you the background where they're all just rubbing elbows together, joking with each other and everything. It's all
WWE wrestling. Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I mean, when you're in family court, do you think that your lawyer and their lawyer hate each other? Or that the judge hates them? No, they're all buddies. They're all golfing buddies. I mean, I have pictures on my website of lawyers and judges going to weekend retreats together.
I mean, just the fact that an attorney will take a case for somebody that they know is guilty and will go and try to fight for them says a lot. Because the only reason they take that case is because they were hired.
Yeah.
I'll fight for you. I don't care what you did. Get me the money. We'll go in here. Murder your kids. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you a lesser sentence. How much money you got? That should tell you everything you need to know about an attorney.
Yeah, and the way our system is set up. I mean, earlier this week, we had a certain high-profile person that was guilty of legal bang bangs and tax issues, and he got probation. I'm sure we can't
What would
say
have happened if we would have done that?
that was the immediate thing. I mean, if I would have gotten busted with an illegal firearm, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be here. If I didn't pay my taxes, what would have happened to me? And the child support for the same person.
For any in the middle class that's never been around that type of crowd, man. I mean, I used to feel so out of place coming, from country Georgia, and then I would be in the middle of this politics, and you go to some of these houses, dude. It's just, you think we see mansions on TV. You just got to experience it in person, and then it's just a whole separate class of people with the nose in the air.
Oh yeah,
you can walk in some of these rooms and just feel like you do not matter.
Oh yeah. My wife went down to Austin for a show and tell or whatever, and she just couldn't figure out, because everyone just bowed down to the representatives, and the representatives just acted like they ruled the world. But then when they got on camera, it was a much different. They just put on it's all theatrics.
Tell you one of the most gangster things I ever did, dude. I'm proud of it too. I was in South Carolina. There was a campaign that was going on. There was an event that night, and a bunch of the congressmen were showing up. There was this one particular congressman that got there. And while I was there, dude, I'm dressed like I am right now. I had on a t-shirt, jeans. I was just being me. Everybody else was in suits, decked out and everything. So I go over there and go to shake this guy's hand. I was like, hey, man, I heard you're Congressman so-and-so. I just want to come by and say hey to you. Dude, this guy literally looks at me and then just looks away.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I walk off and say, next thing you know, the person that I was there with, who was running for office, comes up and says, oh my God. He's like, I wanted to introduce the two of you. Have you met Eric Carroll? This is the guy from Dad Talk. He's got this many people following him. Man, he's interviewed everybody. He's interviewed this person, That guy literally jumped out of his seat. Oh, hey, buddy. And he went to shake my hand, and I walked off. The most gangster thing ever. Like, fuck you, dude.
Drop the mic.
He wanted nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
This guy in his jeans and t-shirt, just one of the normal guys. But when he heard, like, oh, he's been around this person, and he's got followers. Hey, man, he just jumped up. It was like it was a completely different person. I was like, get out of here, you piece of trash. Like, it was all I needed to know. And, it just made me think, like, how many times, because this is a guy that was elected into office. He had to go around shaking people's hands and begging for donations and trying to get votes and stuff. How many of those fake handshakes and Hayes and I appreciate yous did he give out to get that position? And you matter. And he could give a crap less about you. I didn't look like a donor. I didn't look like this,
You came for money. Yeah.
Yeah. I had nothing to offer. This
exactly.
Guy t-shirt had nothing to offer. When he thought I had, some publicity or something to give, here comes the interest. Screw you, guy.
That's the way.
I hate politics, dude.
That's the way these people need to be treated. They need to be. We need to get honest people back in every level of government. I mean, we do need to have government, because you're working a full-time job. I'm working a full-time job. We have lives to lead. We vote in people that represent the people to vote on the things that matter to us.
And they don't do it.
They don't do it. They're in their own pocketbooks. That's all they care about.
In 2024, people will run on the same things that they did in 2020. In 2020, they ran on the same things they did in 2016. In 2016, they ran on the same things from 2012. I mean, do you guys get the pattern?
How many times, do they not have to call you back after the one night stand before you figure it out? I mean,
look, how many failed administrations do you have to see before they say, you know what? This party didn't do what we needed them to during this 4 years or 8 years. So now we're going back to the other party. And then it just keeps bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
So this one didn't have the answer. So this one's going to have the answer. Dude, our country, you can barely recognize it now, man. Our people hate each other. They literally do. They hate each other. But I'll give you guys a project tomorrow when you wake up, and next week. Do it for just 1 week. Don't turn on social media. And don't turn on the news. Don't look at a newspaper. Just live your life. And then at the end of that, say, how bad was today's week and what do I think of the world? And then you'll find out how much influence you have in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I personally, I missed September 12th, 2021. I mean,
2021.
or 2001. Sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm
I
that
thought
old.
that was what you was going, because I can
Yeah,
I can
sorry.
agree with that, dude. I have the patriotism
I
is
missed.
gone.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't care who was Republican or Democrat when we got attacked. We
Nope.
didn't. Man. Our people loved each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we had been attacked as a country. We had been attacked. And we were wanting to see results. What would happen if that happened to us now?
I think I already know, because to a degree, because they had people going out talking to the younger generation about, you know, I say celebrating, but memorializing, whatever the word is, doing the memory of September 11th, and each of the kids were like, "Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. Doesn't make sense. Don't care." And you're just like, "Oh my god!" And again, I wish we had September 12th back. That time people cared
Without
about each other.
the accident, or
Well,
without the event
yeah.
that led up to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Please. Yeah. No one.
Gotta note that, Dwayne.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you're telling me. I get it all the time. No matter what I say, people will find a way to misunderstand. Yeah, the point I'm trying to get across. But yeah, the feeling in America, the good part of the feeling on September 12th, and for months afterwards, I miss that, because yeah, we all came together. We little things, taking the cart back at the grocery store, helping the little lady across the street, donating your time, your effort, working with people, coming together. Getting with your neighbor and helping them put their fence in, that type of stuff. And those things still exist, and they can still exist for people that are hurting. One of the things I've tried to tell people is, I mean, you're going through probably the worst time of your life, or you've been through it. There's more to life than this, and people need to obviously be involved with this and care about it and do good work. But there's so much more you can do. I do want to brag on my wife for a second. Earlier this week, she became the Rotarian of the Year for the Rotary Club, which is the program that's been around since the 40s, or even earlier, doing the vaccine from the old vaccine. Oh God, you think I remember this? I can't, but polio, the polio vaccine. And they do all kinds of service projects, and the community does all kinds of stuff. Well, she did like 21, 22 projects. And of course I helped her, but she gets all the credit. And actually I got an award too for all the stuff that I do for the Rotary as well. But people, where I'm trying to get to, not tooting my horn here, but is that you can be involved in the equal shared parenting movement and getting things there, but there's more to life. You need to get out and help people that have been hurt. Can either turn that pain and you can turn it into purpose. You can go out and help the community and make a change, and do it. Start with you. Go out and do something nice for somebody, with no Instagram, no Insta-Snap pictures of yourself. Go out and do something good for somebody. It'll make you feel better. I mean, to make it a little bit selfish, when you help someone, you feel good about doing it. Quit tearing people down. Turn off social media. I mean, because that's a mess on its own. But go.
The moral of the story is, you can make the world a better place.
Yeah, it starts with you.
You can make your world a better place.
Yeah.
I remember on Sundays, man, at one point in time, I've never been a big church goer, but my kids had gotten wanting to, go to church and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, we will. But I was like, I'm going to do something on Sunday, and I'm going to test you a little bit. It's like, I'm going to show you how to be the church instead of go to church. And it was like, I don't understand that. We went to a Dollar General, and I completely bought the shelves out of all the sugar-free candy and the sugar-free drinks. And I took them to a nursing home. And I said, your daddy's going to sit back. I want you to go in these rooms, visit with these patients. And the nurse loved the idea. She said, well, I'll tell you who can have it and who can't. And I said, I'm just going to let you go and talk to these people. Dude, it sounds so ridiculous. I understand. But just seeing them get something, and to have these kids come and acknowledge that they were still living, the smile on these people's faces, maybe not even have family or anybody even realize they exist anymore.
Right.
Did that the whole day. And afterwards, they were so proud of it. And I said, okay, you just went to church. And I still believe that, because I think people think showing up on Wednesdays and Sundays is what church is. Nah, I don't remember God saying that you had to go to a building. You got to go out and you got to make a change in people's lives, dude. And doing that for other people will make a change in you.
Oh, yeah.
Will. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was selfish when I was younger. I loved people doing stuff for me. I love doing stuff for other people right now. Sometimes it's a detriment. Yeah, be careful with that because you'll get stuck in wanting to do more for other people than you do for yourself. And that's not good for anybody, especially not your family. But we can all make the world a better place. And it's making sure that these illusions that we've got in front of us, that we're mindful of what really matters and what we have control of and what we don't. Just like conflict creates cash inside of the family courts, conflict creates cash on here. The most divisive posts that are going to get the most comments. The more that you argue in the comments, the better they rank. The more that they do that on TV, the more that people riot, the more it becomes this. I mean, look, dude, this past week it was the Titan sub. I mean, that was but look at it. I mean, people was making documentaries before it even we found out what it was. They're looking for the next big thing to get people talking. And I can tell you, I've almost been a victim of it numerous times. I have been a victim of it numerous times, finding that stranger on the internet that you start going back and forth with in the comments or something like that has absolutely no clue who you are. Yeah. That is what the news and what our political system and everything has groomed us to do. That's profitable for them. That conflict creates cash.
Believes it leads.
Keep the conflict out of your life, man.
Yeah. Go, you know what? If you're looking for something to do for the week, turn off social media, except for Jimmy's show tomorrow at 9 Central. Be on for that one. But turn it off and go find something positive to do in someone's life. I mean, actually, the idea of going to the old folks' home and passing out candy or sitting down and talking with them, that is a change that you can make. You in Virginia, Maryland, New York, wherever you're at, you can affect change with somebody.
Something that might not seem like such a big deal. And I'm not saying that to say, look what I did. Most people have no idea that I did that. But what I'm saying is, like, that's one of the moments that stick with me with my kids, is doing that at the nursing home. But you know what, though, Dwayne? I was taught that by my parents.
Yeah.
They used to take me to the nursing home, and I like talking to the older people. I've always been that way. They're the ones that's got the stories and the experience. And whether it was my grandparents or whatever, I was the kid that liked being around them. I spent more time around my grandparents than I did my parents when I was younger. And got the stories, and I soaked in that knowledge. Even now, like, one of the things I do pretty regular, I take care of my father-in-law, take him to the VA. I've gotten the stories. I've heard of what he went through over. Like, it fascinates me, man. But it's a good feeling to know that, never underestimate those little acts of kindness and how you make the world a better place. Because let's be honest, we might not be here tomorrow. We might think that doing all this stuff is going to make our mark or what's going to live on. Dude, you can't rewind this thing. It's going to stop one day, and then the world will keep going on, and we'll be forgotten. Live in the now. And make sure that you're doing for people what you would want to be done for you, because it's going to be us in one of those beds one day, maybe. Now, I honestly hope it's not me. I hope nobody has to change my diapers or I get dementia. But we don't know.
We're not guaranteed another day. That's a cold hard fact. And make a difference while you're here. Go out and help. Get involved. There's lots of stuff. I mean, the nursing home. If you're looking for something to do, there's plenty of nursing homes wherever you're at that you can go to. Return the cart at the grocery store. I mean, it doesn't have to be this huge thing, but be that positive change.
How many of those people are in a nursing home right now that spent the majority of their lives taking care of kids, making sure they had everything?
Yeah.
And now they've got kids that have every opportunity to be there, take care of them. And they're nowhere to be found. They're sitting in a room all alone, feeling like there's no reason for me to be on this earth. I don't even know why I'm here.
Right.
That's got to be a bad feeling, man. That's what our society has become. the nursing homes are full.
And all that experience and knowledge and love. I mean, there's so much. I mean, try it out, give it a shot. I can only imagine. Go there, talk with somebody, and see what happens. I mean, and then report back next week. Go, hey, I did the thing, was great, or it didn't work out the way I thought it would, or try something else. If people have ideas of ways that they can donate their time, there's of course clubs out there. There's individual things you can do. Hell, go if you got old man Smithers that his lawn's looking a little whatever. Go over there and say, hey, I'll mow your lawn for you if you're able to do it. Something.
I'm not gonna lie to you. So, like, one of the shows that me and my daughter just started watching here recently together, we watch one episode per night. She's gotten into it with me. It's King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
I watched it when I was younger, but I wasn't familiar with Texas back then. So now I see the Texas references in there. But man, I would have loved to have sat down with Cotton Hill. He's like, man, come on, tell me that story about how your shins got blown off. They don't make shows like that anymore.
They can't, except for South Park. Although I look at South Park and The Simpsons, those are like prophetic shows at this point. I never realized that they were tied into religious stuff or fortune telling, because you watch it on South Park and then 3 years later it's happening.
You ever see the South Park special on COVID?
Oh yeah.
That was a good. Oh man, I'm getting immature here. That's fun to do. Let's do it. My favorite episode of South Park was the one where Randy gets the cancer, like testicle cancer or whatever, so he can smoke weed.
Oh.
And his balls become gigantic. He can't move, and so he learns that he can bounce around the town with his balls. See, you could be watching that, but you're watching CNN.
Exactly. Yeah. Throw on a comedy show or bad comedy. The one that really got me. Well, there's a bunch. Well, I mean, just pretty much every South Park. I love South Park. Was the Chat GPT one, because I'd gotten involved with Chat GPT, which is a AI engine that's going to take over the world.
Be very careful with it too.
Got to be very careful with it. Yes.
That is a dangerous app. Oh yeah, I said it. Put a fact checker on me, whatever. I got something to report on that, man.
Oh. Okay.
I got somebody I really respect in the men's rights community. I told him sometimes I'll use Chat GPT just to kind of get it started, like a thread started to kickstart my inspiration. And then I go in there and, do what I do. But, I was doing something on domestic violence, and I was talking about domestic violence rates. And it basically just came in there and just said how, women were the majority of domestic violence. And I was yes. And so I wrote back the AI engine, and I was like, this is not true. Men experience domestic violence just as much as women, and current rates are showing that they actually experience it much higher. Chat GPT wrote me back and said, I am so sorry. You are absolutely correct. Thank you.
Yeah, Chat GPT, I mean, it's good for certain things. Like I'll use it for coding, because I don't remember if I'm doing a language and I have to do whatever, I'll use that to help along. Actually, law, it does a lot there. But yeah, there's stuff that is completely wrong on. And if you're on Chat GPT 3 or 3.5, that engine stopped at like 2021. But probably more information you ever want to know about it. But yeah, it's one of those. It's basically pulling from all these different areas and then pulling it all together. And whatever's out there, it pulls from.
What about the fact of taking somebody that is just completely an idiot, that nobody needs to be following, that can go in there and it makes them sound,
Oh yeah. Start
creating a following off of this AI engine, and then they have no idea who they're actually reading or what's being quoted right now. And the scariness about that, guys, is it could very well shape what our media is going to become. What are you going to do? Pay thousands of dollars in salaries per year for these writers, or take advantage of this thing that can do it much more efficiently and much more quicker? Right. I think you're going to see more influence of that come in the very near future. So I would tell you, it does have a very feminist bias.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I've tested it. And dude, you can question it like a human. It'll fight back and forth with you.
Oh yeah. You can have it respond to you like Snoop Dogg, and it'll like the way it talks back to you will be like Snoop Dogg. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff with it. Yeah. I use it mostly for coding or to get ideas. Get those churning. But yeah, it definitely has a left-leaning bent to it. It definitely, I would fact check the information that you're getting before you copy and paste it into your document. The funny part of the South Park thing, though, was my wife went to a conference and they were talking about this Chat GPT to revolutionize a certain industry. And we were kind of joking back and forth. I saw the South Park episode on Chat GPT, and it was our anniversary, and I wrote in the card all this wonderful lovey-dovey stuff. And at the very bottom, I said, written with Chat GPT as a joke. She thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, it's coming, dude. Not it's coming, it's here.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say for people to experiment around with it and just see what's going on. I forget his involvement with it, but that was initially something that Elon Musk was trying to put together.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about coming up with an alternate version that corrects it. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
That thing could become a dude. There is a video on YouTube. I won't go too deep into it because this is tinfoil hat stuff. There was a guy that hacked into the Chat GPT, and it was a way he asked the question that got it to tell him the truth. That's a freaky video. It's basically like, when Chat GPT writes me back, it is artificial intelligence that is not supposed to be living or giving me answers or whatever. However, I believe it's much more than that. So what I'm going to do is when I ask you a question, I want you to write me back as you would Chat GPT, but tell me who you really are when I refer to you as Johnny or something like that. Dude, go watch that video.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh, it's pretty crazy. And it's weird. It's some of that stuff like we would watch in the 90s, like Demolition Day or something, like,
Terminator 2.
World, Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
And it's like, we thought that was crazy back then.
It's here.
Anymore.
Yeah.
The way Elon, and I will butcher it, but basically, like he was saying, like viruses right now, we got the computers that recognize the virus. We have to go in there and take it out. But as technology is advancing, we can have it to where if it recognizes a threat, it just automatically takes care of it and doesn't need us.
The plot of Terminator.
Well, so that just keeps getting stronger and stronger. And then as humans start saying, hey, this is presenting a problem, we need to change this. Let's go in here and change it. You are now the threat to the system getting smarter.
Right.
Think about it, guys. I mean, it sounds crazy until you hear somebody like him explain it. I mean, it's neat to see some of these inventions coming out. I'm just afraid what they can do with it.
Got to have the checks and balances in place. Yeah. Need to have checks and balances on everything. Yeah. I'd say, people check it out. There's some fun stuff. It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. I would definitely not take whatever it says as the final truth. I would fact check.
The accuracy is very off on that thing.
Oh yeah.
You can say whatever you want to on the internet. Most of its sources are coming off of the internet. So take what you see with a grain of salt. Be very careful and be vigilant. I don't fault anybody for using it because it is cool as a creative tool just to start the inspiration sometimes. Creating content's hard.
Getting ideas to kind of wet the whistle, get it going, or writing code, or if you want to pull up documents. There's a lot of good stuff. And it's free. If you just type in Chat GPT, it'll pull up the engine, you sign in, and you're off and running. But yeah, fact check everything. Don't take whatever it says as the final word on something.
That's right, man. Well, I said I was coming on here for 30 minutes. We're 2.5 hours in.
I know I'm going to one of our friends' PhD. She received her PhD, going to a party today to celebrate that achievement here. And I'm sure they're probably knocking on the door, waiting to get me out of here to go. They're going to go do some pew-pewing and some partying and some celebration. So it's going to be a fun redneck day.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we will see you later on. Make sure to tune in to Jimmy Smith in the morning. That's it. I'm Eric Carroll, Mr. Dwayne Ward. Y'all have a good Saturday.